There, there's SB5 too that you may want to support too.
How does SB5? But we were supposed to do that. I was going for that. Go back.
Ready to go, guys? This time we're going to call to order the meeting of March 18th, 2019. Is there a motion to move to closed session?
So moved.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Chief, what are Class A's? What are Class A's? Huh? Oh, okay.
So she has to like work a week.
Dressed up for this? That's fancy. Fancy or uncomfortable for this? Good. Bang? I like Bang. It's the only keto-friendly one out there.
I haven't found a bad one yet.
For Bang?
Yeah.
No. All of them are good.
I've had like probably 7 or 8 of them. I haven't found one bad.
The lemon drop one's good.
Oh, that's
The
bomb.
pina colada, the mango peach one. Now the unicorn one's a little freaky, but it's good. The cotton candy one's a little sweet, but it's good too.
The grape one was super strong. I liked it. So
Was it?
that was good. It was super strong.
I had one that's been open for a couple days, and it's still got some bubble to it.
Oh, I didn't know it's a bomb.
Yeah, it's in my car. I drank it, it was hot, but I was like, oh, I'll take that slow rush.
My wife got like a couple of cases, like mixed cases.
Where at?
I think she got it at Costco. I'm not really sure.
I gotta find that because my wife gave me those now. Smart Fun. I have to check. My wife likes those now. The other ones were killing her, but now that she sees that bangs are good for her, okay for her, she'll drink those.
Good for her. They're keto-friendly.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
She's doing that. She's lost like over 20 pounds doing it too. So,
I mean, I don't do keto, but this is my product.
well, that sugar doesn't spike you or anything, so it's good.
Right.
Yeah, keto it is. It is friendly.
Watch what you say now. It's on. I leave it on.
Councilmember Spencer, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Please stand.
Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. God bless America.
Thank you very much. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Resendez,
Present.
Vice Mayor Richmond,
Here.
Mayor Velasquez,
Here.
Councilmember Spencer,
Here.
Councilmember Lenore,
Present.
City Manager Avra,
Here.
City Attorney Epperson,
Here.
Chief of Police Westrick.
Here.
Thank you very much. And the verification for agenda posting?
Sorry, hold on just 1 second. I'm getting feedback. Thank you.
Delay.
Did you hear it?
Yeah.
Okay, The agenda for the City of Hollister City Council regular meeting of March 18th, 2019 was posted on the bulletin board on March 14th, 2019 at 11:40 a.m. per Government Code Section 54954.2.
Thank you very much. City Attorney, will you report out from closed session?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. The City Council discussed in closed session those items agendized for closed session discussion. Specifically on the agenda, item number 1, conference with legal counsel pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9A, existing litigation, San Benito Superior Court case number CU-19-00041, and item number 2, conference with legal counsel, anticipated litigation, significant exposure to litigation pursuant to Government Code Section 54956.9D2. City Council discussed those items in closed session and direction was given to staff. City Council adjourned from closed session at 6:31 p.m.
Thank you very much. We're going to move to consent agenda. Are there any items council would like to pull?
I'd like to pull A10.
Yes, I have 2 others. In addition to A10, I have A9, and I have A17, please.
A17.
Thank you.
Sorry, Marty, that was A9 and A17?
Yes, thank
Thank
you
you.
very much.
Okay, do we have any from the public?
We do. A4, A10, A11, A12, A13, A14, A15, A16, and A17.
What's the point?
Okay.
That's a lot of them.
Is there a motion?
Go ahead, Marty.
Thank you. I make a motion that we approve the consent agenda as amended.
I'll second that.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move to item A4. It's from the public.
Keith Snow. This is for the ABC license review, SC Cortez, Inc., 601 McRae Street, number 103. The city clerk received from the state ABC license to be approved, and we're asking for city council to acknowledge the receipt and order it filed.
Okay.
Do you have any intervention? Do you have any what you guys change on the license? What we been doing for years? What change would you be doing? On the license and in the alcohol and all that what's happening? Because this whole weekend, Saturday and Sunday. Like alcohol license and we should do workshops and alcohol It's like we get a lot of drunk drivings, and teen drunk drives is on the KSPW and all that. So, like, what council precautions, what goals do you guys have? Fifth the mayor, what you been doing for intervention?
Mr. Snow, do you have a question about this particular address?
I'm saying, like, what did you do on the item?
It's just approval.
Any contracts or anything?
This is just to approve the ability for a business owner to sell alcoholic beverages at their
I know that, but like, what precautions do you have on some alcohol? The kids under 21 years old. What change we made? Like, what sweets have we did? Which is the sweets and all that alcohol, right? Like what change would you guys do? What for prevention, intervention? Like what you do for the future of the kids when we come out of the predicament?
So I'm sorry, Mr. Snow. Is your question? Should we deny it? I don't understand. What
No, not deny it. Like, what would you implement? You implement law, mandate things. What back would you do for like someone selling alcohol? Would you do workshops, or again, like what we can do for prevention? Like lately, like kids going to bars, going to stores, buying alcohol, and adults. I mean, damage towards is this counted on this weekend?
Keith, I believe it's a pizza place.
No, but sells alcohol.
Well, Mr.
Sells alcohol, sells dry beer. And that's on top of it. What would you? What concerns you have as a council mayor?
Mr. Snow, I think the item here is whether we.
I know what okay.
This business.
What?
I think your question is what enforcement is there?
Yeah. What would you do? Like, what?
The state enforces the alcohol
licenses. I know that. I know, but
so if somebody violates
bars and all.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I know people own bars in Sacramento County.
Well, if somebody violates it, they can lose their license.
I know that. But I said, what thing does the council would do? Thank you.
Thank you.
They're trying to get it.
Okay. Is there a motion? Are there any other speakers?
Mr. Mayor.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move to item A9.
Good evening. Good evening, Mayor and City Council members. This item is a request for the approval of management analyst positions for the City Manager's Office, the Administrative Services Department, and the Management Services Department. The Human Resources Division has reviewed the requests and recommends approval for the positions. The Human Resources Division has also prepared the necessary job description and resolution for City Council approval consideration. If the City Council has any questions regarding this item, the City Manager, Administrative Services Director, and the Management Services Director are here and available to answer any questions you may have.
Okay. Is there any questions for Council? Councilmember Richmond?
Just for the public's information, do we have any kind of fill on these positions at the present time?
This particular position?
These three
management analyst
position?
No, it's a new position.
They are all three are new?
Correct.
Do we currently have a plan whether or not we are going to fill them internally, or are we going to do that?
We're going to do an open recruitment. Or actually, it's going to be in-house. Internal.
Oh, so correct. It is going to be
internal promotional.
So they are internal promotions.
Correct.
Can you give me an approximate annual additional cost? Perhaps you need some help from finance for that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Right. Yeah.
I see Brett getting ready to come to the. Just an estimate.
It's right there.
sorry. The estimate for the total cost for the general fund would be about $27,000, and then an additional $33,000 for the enterprise funds.
Is that additional to what we're paying now?
It'll be additional to what we're paying now.
So about 3/5 of it, or somewhere around there to the.
So the new management analyst, we will remove the admin analysts that we have right now currently.
Okay. And which enterprise fund is that? Do you know?
That would be water and wastewater.
Right.
Thank you.
What's the reasoning for removing the administrative analyst positions?
Right now, we plan to have, if this goes through, is to have them do additional analysis work so that we can actually try to make things a little bit more efficient. We're doing a lot more grant work, and we're just.
Why are we deleting those positions? It's a big jump from senior support to management analysts.
Correct.
So you eliminated that middle.
To a point
ground.
right now, it'd be budget. I mean, we're not removing that the position would be available in the future. We're not completely removing it from our job descriptions.
You're going to consider them at a later date?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you.
So basically, we're renaming a position.
Correct, but we're giving them additional duties also.
But the additional would be about close to $10,000 a year raise, basically, is what we're doing here.
Correct. Yeah, because they are spending more time than what they're currently doing right now.
Well, the positions are.
Correct.
For $10,000 more?
Yeah, I would say so.
Okay.
I mean, we do.
Councilmember Resendez?
I thought I read somewhere that they've been performing in this, like within that jurisdiction already for a while.
They've been dabbling in it, but they're not 100% doing that work.
Okay. Yeah, that was my question. And then who authorized that?
Well, it'd be the council that would authorize that. We're bringing it forward. We're making that recommendation to the council for the council's approval.
Okay. Just my concern is that we have the city manager's leaving, and I'd like for us to wait or just to hold back before we hire new positions or give people raises until we get a new city manager in here to really evaluate whether or not that's something we should move forward with.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Councilmember Richmond?
I only want to make just for the record, I want to make a comment I think everybody knows the answer to, but I want to, sometimes it's good to state the obvious. And the obvious is that one of the really big problems we have in being competitive is for experience is our turnover rate. It's just an enormous turnover rate we have. And I know people have said, well, you're just a training ground for better paying jobs right up the road. You know, we can't be a training ground forever. If we are a training ground forever, we can never expect to get a better performance than we get out of being a training ground. I would hope, since it's an internal job, that one of the considerations for whether or not this should be bumped up to the next level is whether or not we believe that these people are the people involved, since we know the individuals because we're bumping them up. It's not blank, are likely to stay with us. I don't want this to be filled and then to be empty. If that's the case, I would be amenable to you coming back and wanting to change back. To be very honest with you, I hate to say that, but I don't want to bump this up only to find out that these are likely. We don't control anybody; they can do what they want.
Right.
But I hope we're not likely to find these as empty positions. That would really upset me.
That's why we're having it as internal recruitment, because we feel like we have quite a few good candidates that could fill this position right away.
Well, I'm going to tend to support it if we have candidates that have worked here and we know what we got, because they are internal. And also, I believe that it's absolutely essential that we do personnel development within our sphere. I think it's absolutely essential. I've said this many, many times. If we want professionals, then we have to have personnel development. If we don't, then all we're going to do is be a training ground forever, and we're going to make the same training ground mistakes over and over and over again when we hire new people at a level that we can't support. So it's my it would be my my intention to support this. I think it's a lot of money, but I know what the pay is up the street, so to speak. Not very far up the street.
About a block away.
Yeah, thank you.
Do we have any speaker cards?
Resolution number 2019-50, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister to approve 3 fully funded management analyst positions for the Administrative Services, City Manager, and Management Services Departments. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
Council, Ron, we're waiting to come to say what's up. Answer nothing. What time here? Common sense. I ran for mayor in 2012. Get Marty, Emerson, and also I know how it runs. I know I raised Segway County. So I know about business. So what's been happening? Like you said, now you keep better common sense. All disqualified people in the city, positions. Why we can waste $27,000? We use for our kids' future, for our homeless people, for all that, for other services, bus services. And Richmond, you want to say I want that things on me is for being my vice mayor. I know what kind of vice mayor you are. You said nothing. No one can talk to him. And also made a face. We just want to connect with citizens. What's happening here? What's going to happen when they do? But common sense. Right? It's a waste of money. Thousands of dollars. We want but for measure, give me $180,000 a year. What Bill gets, save $4,000 a year. A lot of money right there. And then all you got to do, find a finance analyst, a professional done by finances, with to connect with their treasurer. What's happening here? We need common sense. We need to move all aspects, all issues, all problems in our city. Down to youth services, down to homeless people, down to bus services. And all that, down to bottom and up. We're doing there wasting money. That's wasted spending right there. You know that. You know all along, treasurer before, city clerk before, all the spots before. You should know that, Marty. I've been meet this more than means you're meant to. And right, instead of my other record requests yet. So the point is, I know all about I run city operations. Want to try and get that. Let's quit wasting money. Quit. You make decisions for the people, for the taxpayer. But it's going to happen anyway. So let's not waste money. And ask Bill, why are you going to resign? You're doing a good job. I still, our officers did a good job. This weekend, they went for a job. Bus safety. And the war's doing good too. And I'd say that to you. That's me. Thank you.
Thank you,
How about
Mr. Snow. Do we have any
I
other
have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
speakers? Okay. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2019-50, approving 3 fully funded management analyst positions for Administrative Services, City Manager, and Management Services Departments.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Against?
No.
3 ayes, 2 no. Motion carries. We'll move to item A10.
Evening, Mayor, council members. 810 is Resolution 2019-51. In a nutshell, what it is a realignment of current staffing to implement 3 fire officers and 3 engineers to appropriately staff engine companies, as opposed to filling those positions with overtime and out-of-class employees. Can I answer questions?
Okay, any questions?
Yes, I have some. So the reason I pull this is, if we fill these positions with the 6 that you're asking for, the 3 captains and the 3 fire engineers, this will minimize our overtime for the 2 shifts per day?
It's a little more than 2 shifts a day. There are some shifts where they'll have 3. Now remember, these firefighters can take off as much as 3 personnel per shift. Irregardless, there's consistent vacancies throughout all 3 A, B, and C shifts, and they're located sporadically throughout the county. As it stands right now, since July 1st, there has been a total of 257 shifts filled because there are vacancies. Once these positions are put in place, they will automatically fill those 257 slots. And it'll be a significant savings. And I estimated, it's just an approximation, but I estimated a cost savings of in and around $690,000. Now, 257 shifts for engineers and for fire captains at $1,200 and $1,400 equates this amount. So yeah, long story short, yes, it'll significantly reduce the overtime.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Lenore.
Okay, so our goal here is to have the minimum requirement of 1 captain, 1 fire engineer, and 1 firefighter on each shift at all 4 stations.
Yes, ma'am.
So this will accomplish that.
Yes.
So in reading some correspondence that I got, I'm a little confused as to the 5 engineers that are working out of class allegedly, and the 1 captain that is working out of class, and then you have a fire marshal as well. So it's my understanding you have 3 battalion chiefs and 1 fire marshal / battalion chief.
Yes.
So what am I considering here? Why is the perception from the staff at the fire that you have 5 engineers working out of class?
Well, because what's happening right now is because we have vacancies in the captain's position,
okay,
and we have vacancies caused by promotions. There are a total of 5. So what's going to happen is, when we do fill those 3 positions to make the 12 captains across the board, 4 engines times, the 3 captains, the 3 engineers.
12, and 12.
Exactly. There's going to be holes at the engineer rank. There's already 3 holes, but once those captains get promoted, it's going to create 5 engineer positions. And we're going to have to pick them up from the firefighter rank.
Okay.
Fortunately for us, we have a strong succession plan, like Marty was talking about.
Okay.
Since all of these staff members have been working out of class, they've developed to meet the requirement of the California State Fire Marshal to work in greater responsibility. So we've got eligibility lists in 4 ranks: battalion chief, fire captain, engineer, and firefighter.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you. Councilmember Richmond.
Thank you very much. What's the net once we get through moving everybody around? I understand. Well, first of all, is it your understanding that we have a limitation on working out of a class?
Yes, sir.
Is that your understanding?
The research that I have done on this has indicated that the California Public Employees Retirement Law has dictated that you can no longer work an employee out of class in greater responsibility without putting him in that authorized position after 960 hours. Once you do that, this municipality will start paying fines into the retirement system. So to avoid that, if we enact this, it will defer, and it'll absolutely make us in compliance and push us away from that legality. What it's going to cost, however, is $105,000 a year just for the promotions from firefighter to engineer and engineer to captain for the 6 positions. But that $105,000 a year is going to reduce that $690,000 in overtime. So personally, I think it's a good investment.
So
Oh,
Excuse me.
I'm sorry, Marty.
No, that's all right. I'll be glad to let you have some
The
time.
overtime, though, is slated for
Wait.
1.6 million.
Hang on a second. Councilmember Lenore, let
Okay.
Ms. Rick finish.
Oh, okay,
No,
I'm
I
sorry,
didn't know how it
Marty.
works. Okay, thank you.
Go ahead.
So I don't want to put words in your mouth. I would just want to make sure I understand what you're proposing. Assuming everything stays equal, and we know it never does because basically you guys respond to whatever the call for your services are.
Right.
But assuming everything stays equal, we have the equal amount of requirements, the equal amount of people who are injured and not on the job, the equal amount of people who are entitled to vacation, and the new people, any new hires would be entitled to vacation.
Right.
So your prediction is that essentially once we do this, we're going to net a $500,000 reduction in overtime. Essentially, 500,000, whatever the number is. 690 minus
yes.
one what?
Yes,
Minus
absolutely.
one what? What was that number you gave me last?
105,000.
105,000. So essentially, maybe a $500,000 to $600,000.
Yes, because
Reduction
we're
overtime.
like Madam Councilmember Spencer had said, there's constant vacancies on each shift every day, as much as 2, sometimes more than that. And the configuration that I had my battalion chiefs run for me was that since July 1, there has been 257 vacancies filled. Once these vacancies are filled with appropriate staff positioned people, that will go away. That overtime allocation will go away.
I don't know if you're prepared for this question, but I'd like to ask it anyway. What is your best estimate of where the overtime is going to wind up under the current conditions?
And that's to answer Councilmember Lenore's question. It's
Yeah.
$1.6 million at this going rate. 1.6 million.
We're currently in a $1.6 million overtime.
Yes.
And so about somewhere between $500,000 and $600,000 of that would be reduced, which would bring the overtime down to $1.1 million or somewhere around there, $1.1 million to $1.1 million. Still, that's an enormous amount of overtime.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do want to make a little speech here and say that we are, as you well know, but I want the public to know, we are subsidizing enormously both the county and San Juan Bautista with our fire contracts. And I voted to approve those contracts, and I voted to do it for a reason. And the reason was because the people who are on the road here, the people that these guys come and pull out of the cars, are overwhelmingly our people. 11 to 8, according to the latest report from the Mercury News, of the people who are, there's more than almost 12,000 people daily going up to Santa Clara County from here, from Hollister, and 18,000 total from the county. And I want to make sure that somebody's up there to pull them out, because there will be wrecks, and there are wrecks, and someone's got to pull you out. I hope in the future we can put together a fire district that will get a fair share of the money from the county, and I hope in the future we put together a county-wide district that'll get the support we need. Pending that, I'm on a better safe than sorry, because I'm especially worried about the day that we don't know that's coming when the earthquake comes. And it will come. Everybody knows it will come. Nobody dare stand up and say it won't happen, because we know it's going to happen. And I am really worried that we don't have enough professional firefighters on thing, and we have to wait for FEMA or Santa Clara to send us help. Santa Clara may not be able to help themselves, much less help us. Yeah, there's some money here that I wish we didn't have to pay, but I thank you for your input. Thank you.
Councilmember Resendez?
A couple of things. So it says that you're basing hiring more people off of the number, like the population that we have?
Yes. So one firefighter for every 1,000 population. That's the
Okay.
ratio.
Is there any other studies that you guys have done that are justifying hiring other people, not just based on the population, like the number of calls, that type of thing? Do you have any other data on that?
Correct. So the Department of Homeland Security assessed our application for funding, grant funding, and they've afforded us $1.2 million in funding for salaries of 9 firefighters. And they are coming online, I want to say, the beginning of May. The beginning of May.
I'm talking about here locally. Other than saying we need one staff for every 1,000 people, are there any other studies or any other data you're using to justify hiring those people, like the number of service calls?
Well, yeah, that all takes into consideration. They analyze all of the information that we give them for these applications.
Got it.
And that is the information.
Got it. Okay. Because my concern would be like, okay, we're growing, so you're going to lower the overtime for now, right?
Mm-hmm.
But then who's to say the population's going to grow that we're not going to end up in the same cycle again later on? That's my concern. How can we go about doing this in a better manner? That's my concern.
So what other municipalities have successfully done, for every number of units that are developed, there's a trigger point. So if there's Monterey, for instance, they got a good trigger point. After 250 units built, they know that every unit alone produces 1.5 people in it. So you'll have 2 houses that'll have 6 people coming out of it, and about 4 of those people drive. Those ratios right there will provide a trigger point. And I want to say maybe it's about 500 homes. Every 500 homes, that municipality will hire a firefighter, or they'll do something to increase their staffing levels so they can address the growth in the community. But yeah, those are trigger points.
So when can we get to that conversation? I want to see us not doing this over and over again.
I can actually answer that if you'd like. So as you know, we're going through a staffing study right now. Mm-hmm. And at the conclusion of that, we're going to actually initiate a master plan that will encompass public safety as well. And what it'll do is it'll give you a roadmap for the future. Just like he's saying, there'll be some trigger points that you'll be able to look at. But more importantly, it'll also give you a way to pay for it as well. So I think it answers your question, but give it about 6 months.
All right. Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? So I have questions. I'm very concerned about this, and I can remember the day we were having heated discussions about being $350,000 in overtime. Now we're looking at $1.6 million in overtime.
Yes.
Providing exactly the same service. Different ways of doing it, but the difference now is we're paying $1.3 million more, which I'm not happy about.
Right.
How many reserves do we have on board now?
We got 1.
Okay. It was brought up here a little earlier about we are subsidizing the county. My numbers, estimated numbers, are $2 million, $2.5 million. We have put together what we had originally a good concept, good idea, good partnership. We've turned this around, so we're carrying the burden. We're carrying the burden. And we are subsidizing the county by quite a bit of dollars. We talked about the number of units. So many units should be a new firefighter. I agree with you. I went through these numbers. We spent a lot of time looking at this. The only problem is we are collecting those dollars for the city, but in the new contract, those new homes in the county are not going to pay us those dollars. They got out of that in that contract, which I was especially upset about. There's a lot of bad things going on here that is not going to make this thing work in the long term. In the first downturn in our economy, what is going to happen is what happened in the past, layoffs. And it's a shame that we don't step back, address the real financial problem here, ask our partners in the county and in San Juan Bautista to really step up, do what we're doing financially so we're not carrying the burden. Because right now, it's basically a free ride. And I don't mean that an insult to any of the county residents or San Juan Bautista, but we are paying a huge portion of this because of our tax rates here, because what we're doing with the CFD fees on every new home. We're doing everything right. But if we don't stop and say, hey, county, San Juan, we need your help. We need to step up at the same level we're at. or we can't do this, we're going to find ourselves in serious financial difficulties. And I'm looking at these numbers. I'm telling everyone here, I'm raising the flag here, a warning flag. We're headed for trouble, big financial trouble. And just solving the problem by saying, let's just change this, change that, spend $105,000 more, and that'll help solve us. My prediction is it's not going to really solve the problem. This problem really comes back to the fair participation with our partners, paying more into this whole program if we're going to continue down this road. It should be a district. I think we all agree on that, so it's one unified fund paying for all this countywide. But it's not. And we are, again, subsidizing. That means $1.3 million, $2 million of money we can't use for our own roads or for other services in our community, in our city. We have to acknowledge the problem. And I'm very concerned that the only solution we ever have is to spend more of our own money rather than say, hey guys, let's all step back, let's acknowledge this issue, everybody get on the same page, same tax rate, same everything, same CFDs to make sure this is funded correctly. So we don't have the disaster in the future, because it's just, we're being irresponsible. This is just, to see $1.6 million in overtime, it's just wrong. And we should be doing it right. We should be. And it's not saying you're doing it wrong. That's not what I'm saying here. But I know we need the additional funding from the other entities to help us get there. We can't carry all the burden. Councilmember.
Okay, well, we're not discussing that tonight, the contract. We're discussing the intent. We're supposed to be meeting the law here and the minimum requirements of each shift to have the right personnel on it. That's what we're talking about tonight. So if you don't want to get sued, I would try to meet the minimum requirement as stated by the law, and they need to do that now because you have out-of-class workers that have already been over the 180 days. That's what we're talking about tonight, not that we're subsidizing the county. That's another discussion, and it's a serious discussion. He's also offered a solution to lowering the overtime. We're always telling him, lower the overtime, lower the overtime. He's trying to lower the overtime. And we have requirements, minimum requirements for each shift. That's where I'll leave it.
Thank you. Mr. Cards.
Item A10, resolution number 2019-51, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the salary and benefits and other terms and conditions of employment for 3 fire captains, 3 fire engineer job classifications. I have one speaker, Keith Snow. Actually, I have 2 speakers. The first one is Keith Snow.
Council, please, come on, man. What's going on here, Mayor? I've been in 2012. When I ran for mayor, I want you to know that if we made a big thing, you with the firefighters, the big picture with the campaign 2012, when Emerson mentioned to right. When it's called, it's called not subsidizing, it's what's in the future. We've been here, Marty, you Vice Mayor, how did you should say this? You've been meeting here in this council chamber here. How many times over and over, or like ski self development houses? Do you know that's more people, more services, right? Look, it's on a guard's contract. What about that contract? That's how you can find all of the common sense. That's how you can accurate number. It's got accuracy. We're making too many mistakes. It's called mismanagement. You manage your dollars. You're saving dollars. You're not saving the dollars. Your budget is out the window. So what are you talking about budget money? You're not budgeting money, Mayor. Not tricking me. I'm your opponent. Right? I'm here for mayor for the right reasons. I'm here for mayor for leadership. I'm here for a generation to come. What you create? What you create? All kinds of people. On that guarantee, our firefighters won for a job. Why I heard in County yesterday, the picture, $1.6 million? Are you guys lost your mind? They know mindset. I'm for more firefighters and more peace officers. So what about other officers on schools? What about disasters? What's happening over there at New Zealand? All these other bars, Dozen Oaks, or Tri-City. What's happening with the kids? And what I mentioned before, public safety. Are there metal detectors? We can blast it right now. What are you going to do? Just SWAT? You need more SWAT with damage control. What's happening here, we're not common sense leadership. That's what's lack of. You can say over and over for the right reasons. We need to do things done right. How many years do you need? How many years do you need to make corrections? The political corrections. So you can just me. I know I did a better job.
Thank you, Mr. Stone.
Vince Grewal.
Mayor, council members, I'm Vince Grewal, President of Hollister Firefighters Association. First, I'd like to thank Councilwoman Honor Spencer for pulling this item to allow and begin discussions on this very important issue. We support Chief Bob Martin Del Campo's proposal for 6 additional positions, for 3 captains, 3 engineers, but we respectfully request to add 2 to that, firefighters for future growth. The current overtime savings currently has gone down a little bit, and that's because of the actors that have been in places right now. If those actors have not been in some of those vacancies, they would have been overtime every day, every shift, multiple positions. So that's, a lot of the guys here have been doing that for 3-4 years now. So we look forward to sitting down with the city management to amend the current MOU we have with the city presently to reflect the changes to CalPERS law and limitations for out-of-class work and pay. This law became effective January 2018. And unfortunately, the city has been in violation since then. So thank you for your time and attention in this matter. We look forward to resolving this. Thank you.
Thank you. Do we have any other speakers?
We have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you. Is there a motion? Do you have a question?
I'd like to make an amendment to A10. I'd like it to read resolution number 2019-51, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the salary and benefits and other terms and conditions of employment for 3 fire captains and 3 fire engineer jobs classification and 2 firefighters for future hire, for future, I got it written, hold on, for future growth.
I think.
Can I make an amendment?
Attorney, don't we need to know the financial issues before we can do something like that?
I'm fine with it.
Well. Figured you would be.
Yeah, I'd like.
When do we need? We need to know the financial.
I'd like to hear the discussion on cost.
Yeah.
You can move forward with that motion. It would somewhat negate the discussion that's been had so far about regarding the financial issues, but you can move forward with that motion.
Okay. Okay. There's a motion, and is there a second?
Second.
No, you made
the
motion.
motion. I'm sorry. Sorry.
Nice try.
I'm excited.
You want to do all the votes?
Nice try. That's a new one. I'll second for the purpose of discussion.
Okay. The motion is second for discussion.
For the purpose of discussion. And my discussion would be, I would like to hear concerning the financial issues of the proposed change, since that was not addressed at all during the original.
I could suggest
someone have an estimate of the cost.
We table and bring back with the additional.
Go ahead, Brett.
I mean, a really rough estimate, I don't want to be held to it, but it's probably about $100,000 per firefighter. So that'd be an additional $200,000 from the general fund.
I believe it's higher than that.
Right, like I said, this is real rough.
That's a
real
very rough one, yeah.
Thank you. I withdraw my second under those conditions. Thank you.
Okay. There's a motion. Is there a second?
Can I second?
You cannot second. Okay. Motion dies for lack of a second. Is there a motion under the original item?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2019 approving salary and benefits and other terms and conditions of employment for 3 fire captains and 3 fire engineer job classifications.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Sorry, Marty.
There's a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
No. 3-2. Go to item A11.
And hopefully we'll hear more in the future.
We debate.
That may have been pulled by
I'm sorry?
the
A11
council.
by the public.
By the
Yes.
public. So resolution number 2019-52, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister declaring the condition of certain properties to constitute a public nuisance and ordering the abatement of weeds thereon and noticing a hearing for the receipt of objections to the proposed abatement. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Mayor. Just pay attention. How many years have we been over here and we're running from here to the 12? We've been over this. What has been done? We changed the lawyers from LG Law Firm to Jason over there in Fresno. So, like, point is, right, what has been done? Have we leaned hold PS properties? Have we got weeds? I mean, what's the word? It's like, what are we doing? I mean, I was saying, and when someone does things right here, we should have plans. That what results? What's been done? Changes. Because people want change. Not just for, I'm about you, Marty, but I know my constituents want changes. And it mirrors all districts. So the point is, right? What we did year to year, and we got our properties, and we did a team on properties, we did a team on the acres, and the weeds. What have we done? What difference? What changes are we going to be making now? The mayor should know this. The city mayor should know the assistant city mayor should know this. Finance. What's been done? Well, Ron should look into this. We want to be a councilman. You are a councilman, right? But your constituents, on what they said on this item, agenda. So I'm saying, what have we? Because that's about safety, fires. So, like for example, I did say earlier, but when there's a fire and the engineer, fire, there's a trench hole for fire, right? So it don't spread further to control it. Would you know? I didn't thought about this scientifically. I just thought that what this mud size are done by erosion on the mound, the size, and it's caused by the trench. Have you thought of that? And under the water, the saturation, the water we get. This is a lot of water. But it's called common sense. I guess they thought that, Mr. Engineers. Do you guys want? So thank you very much, and have a good night.
Thank you, Mr. Snow. This is a notice that happens every year for those landowners that do not clean up their properties with weed, that we're giving them a notice that if they don't do it, we'll do it for them and then charge them for that work. So it's the first step. we have to take so we can make sure we can handle this problem that happens each year. So the property owners end up paying for this, but this is the first step to notice them. Okay? Thank you. All right. Is there any more speakers?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I'd make a motion, Resolution 2019-52, Resolution of City Council, City of Hollister, declaring condition of certain properties to constitute a public nuisance and ordering that abatement of weeds thereon, and noticing a hearing for the receipt of objections to the proposed abatement fire.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move to item A13.
I need to recuse myself.
A13 is not your item, I don't believe. Do you live near there?
Oh, wait, what? I thought we were going to A12.
No, A12 we already approved.
Oh, okay.
Actually, A12 was pulled by,
Was it?
yeah, it was.
Was A12?
Yep. Mhm.
There you go.
I did
All the
not
rest
hear
of
that.
them.
Now she's going to.
All the rest of them.
Out of there.
Fine, I'll leave it. Whatever.
I think it was.
Tennis courts.
I didn't hear A12.
I didn't think so, but.
Resolution number 2019-53, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister authorizing the mayor to execute an agreement for the continued use of the tennis courts at San Benito High School. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
When you guys talk about something, when you guys city manager, and the tennis courts, is that contract? You have to get thorough on details. What you put on it?
It's
What's
a
on?
contract with the high school to
Okay, and how much is the contract?
$15,000
Per year or
per year.
What I mean, for like, what I mean, how much cost for maintain it?
That's the contract we have with the high school.
But that's part of the contract, right?
Yes.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Sanders?
Just a quick comment. I didn't know that we had access. I knew we had a contract, but is there a better way to market this so the public can be aware
Actually,
of that?
I spoke to Dr. Tenenbaum a little bit ago, and we're going to do a bigger campaign and let people know that it is available for everybody this year, and try to get more use out of it than we have in the past. So.
Yeah, specifically, it's just on Saturdays, is what I understood.
No, it's essentially it's on the weekends.
Okay.
Saturdays is predominantly the time, and then during the week. You can play as provided there isn't a school activity going on, and then scheduling for the
after
courts,
school hours.
Yeah, and
Right.
I'm sorry, excuse me.
I just really want the public to get as much use as they can of it as a.
And scheduling of the course is actually going to be done through the high school now. So.
Okay, cool. Thanks.
Yes, Councilmember.
So the capital improvements or deferred maintenance will never exceed $5,000 per year. Is that our fair share of it? Because we don't use it as much as the high school does. Is that like a prorated share?
It's a dollar amount that we came up with so that we at least had a replacement cost if things actually did, if
So
things happened to.
What is the high school paying?
Oh, I have no. The courts are a fortune, right?
Okay.
they paid them.
Is a good deal for us to pay.
Very.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Councilmember Richmond?
I think it's a good use of recreation money, and that's what it is, right? Recreation money.
Yes, sir.
I think it's a good use of recreation money. You get your money's worth. The courts stay busy. But like the Billie Holiday song goes, God bless the child who has his own. We'd be better off if we had our own. But barring that, this is the next best solution. I support it.
Okay. Any other speakers?
I have no more speakers.
Okay,
Mr.
is there a
Mayor.
motion? Wait. We do have another speaker.
I had no more speaker cards.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Elia Salinas. The only thing that I want to press upon you is that what are the hours and making sure that the public is going to have access to the tennis courts, because I understand they've got practice, they've got the school. So is it via Parks and Recreation that we're going to get classes out there? The public, the schools are closed, so everything's gated up. So what's the only Saturdays for the public?
No.
events. And then you could also, you can make arrangements for the high school to play when there isn't any other activities going on.
Okay. That's what I'm saying. Thank you.
Sorry to speaking to the public directly.
No, as Councilmember Sanders, we have this deal worked out now. Everything's in play, so let's go play some tennis. Good for the community. Okay, is there a motion?
I'll move to adopt resolution number 2019-53.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Let's bring in council member. Okay, we're going to move on to item A13. This is from the public.
Resolution number 2019-54, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the proposed boundary of the Solario Park 1 subdivision for the annexation of territory into Community Facilities District Number 4, annexation number 28. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
And like, how many units are going to be built on this property? Units or what?
This is not for building new. This is to cover costs of CFDs, community
the fees,
facility district fees, to cover the cost of maintenance.
Oh, it did like fees like they are chasing like on the it did like a lawsuit for the fees, property tax fees for between the city and county.
No, this is something different.
It was totally different. Like, what is it like? I mean, when we're planning, like, what's it for? Like,
it annexes the property into what we call.
I know, like, that's what I know. It means a lot of houses, a lot of buildings. You get next to like commercial, you got regular houses.
For the homes that are built in this district.
I know, but ain't there like a lawsuit going still, or what's the results on that?
This is completely different.
Totally different. So what's it? Is it to do with money?
Yes, the property owners in that area would all have to pay an additional fee to maintain their properties in that area.
But is it?
Four is for the. Is that for the public service?
Yes,
Public
is
service for
public
the-
services, and then or the public facilities, parks, and things like that.
Okay.
And then 5 is police and fire.
What is the fees? They only pay fees, aligning fees, and then the districts.
They have to pay additional fees to maintain.
So that's additional fee to the taxpayer.
To those new residents in that new neighborhood.
Yeah, well, that's more taxpayer money to the people. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other questions or comments? Okay, is there a motion? Is there a motion on item
Yes.
A13?
If I could get to it, I would be happy to make the motion. I'm sorry.
Okay.
It was again A14.
A13.
A13. Okay. So I move that we adopt resolution number 2019-54, approving the boundaries for Solario Park 1 to be included into Community Facilities District Number 4.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're going to move on to item A14.
You have 14 in public?
Resolution number 2019-55, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the proposed boundary of the Solario Park 1 subdivision for the annexation of territory into Community Facilities District Number 5, annexation number 4. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
So it's the same thing, all right? Same thing or something different?
This is to cover the cost of police and fire.
So police and fire. So when you go to police fire, is that towards San Bautista side? Going that way?
No, this is just for the residents of this new neighborhood. They have to pay an additional $775 per home.
That's a lot.
For police and fire.
That's a lot because we're losing $2 million anyway on that contract for the people paid that got
That's
this
a
year.
whole. This is a whole different issue.
I know, but San Juan. So police fire services
Yes, it is.
contract, right?
Police and fire
Service
in the
contract.
city of Hollister.
I know. It's San Benito, right?
City of Hollister.
I say, but it's the same thing. We're losing money anyway. So, if you look on the contract that I got, for $9 million paying and down to $7 million, we're losing $2 million. So the point is right. So what are they going to do differently? To the people and the services for the public. I know the parts are journalists and police and all that. But like, what? That's people owners. What if they can't afford it to pay that on the property things, taxes and all that? That's $7 per year. Okay, have you guys ever thought about that? Just mindset thought. Thanks.
Thank you.
I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Councilmember Richmond has a comment.
Thank you. I don't know if you're prepared for this, but how is that broken up dollar-wise? Do you remember? Approximate?
775.
Is it 50-50?
Yeah.
To police and fire?
You mean the proceeds on this police
Yeah.
and fire?
Yeah. Is it 50-50?
50-50.
Okay. I just want to point out for the public's, I like to do a little public education in my own right. For the public's interest, the earlier discussion we had about staffing for fire. For new developments, for most new developments, not all new developments, for most new developments, where the people are joining the CFD, they're paying for their fire and police. Now, they're not paying everything, but they're paying a hefty amount for the fire and police coverage. That's an annual amount. That's not a one-time amount like an impact fee. That's like every year. And so we have a built-in method that covers some of the fire staffing and the police staffing. And I know this sounds like mother and apple pie, but you know, the city with its 37 to 40,000 residents, whatever we got, is all about public service. That's what it is. That's what we provide. If we don't provide public service, we don't need to be here. Okay? I mean, you don't need a government just to take your money. We're supposed to do something with it and give it back to you in other ways, hopefully for the betterment of the public. And I hope that's what we do, and that's why we have the CFDs, and that's why we do what we do. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any other comments, questions? Is there a motion?
It's number 14. I'll make a motion. We are 14, right?
Yes, A14.
Resolution 2019-55, resolution City Council, City of Hollister approving the proposed boundary of the Solario Park 1, District 5 annexation for police and fire services.
The motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, motion carries. We'll move to item A15 from the public.
Resolution number 2019-56, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the proposed boundary of the Solario Park 2 subdivision for the annexation of territory into Community Facilities District number 4, annexation number 29. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
And on the same thing, right? Same thing you talk about, annexation and all that, the fees and all that, services.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, there's one wonder about Martian and the volunteers and all that. Volunteers and success, everything. Let me ask a question. On there, didn't do any voting or like on the ballot, and the Christians should spend a little lawyer on fees. Bits like first you got Measure G. We okay that. Then we got Measure W. Okay that too, right? On there, on all this, and with the Measure C, that got passed too. All these things got passed for like probably the tax, the debt. So when you went out all the money for the firefighters, and at some point they were losing this money. We need to break things down. We need to do a workshop where this, right? Pick all down so sensible where people can understand like bills we're paying per month for this. Pick it down. We're getting for light fees for parts. But the other guy, that doctor is supposed to get email from him being there that works at the city. He not getting no email no more. So the point is right, and they got nothing. We really can break it all down. So the point is right. So what I'm trying to get at, we should be more sufficient when do things and when do things what plans the guy here. What we're doing it. So Mark can say that there, of course we need fire, of course we need police, of course we need put that parts. What about are you going to do counts in the parts for just keep them to build a system? We're not looking for the bombs, dog park, spend $7,000 for some mechanism for a bomb and dog park. We're not looking for citizens. What they haven't taken holes in the park a few years ago. We're not doing all that, but we're getting that to the dollars. What we're doing here, and we should get more sensible, like to want to say things, like to the citizens. Thanks. I really appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion on item A15?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2019-56, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the proposed boundary of the Solario Park 2 subdivision for the annexation of territory into Community Facilities District number 4, annexation number 29.
There's a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Everybody.
Motion and a second. You get that, Hen? Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. We're going to go to item A16 from the public. Mr. Snow?
Item number A16, resolution number 2019-57, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the proposed boundary of the Solario Park 2 subdivision for the annexation of territory into Community Facilities District number 5, annexation number 5 for police and fire services. One speaker, Keith Snow.
Can you speak into the microphone, Mr. Snow?
What's it anyway? You know what I mean? So like it's parts. We'd like to build parts. We're paying maintain parts.
This one's for police and fire.
I know. Huh?
This one's for police and fire in that.
I know. Like the other one's for police and fire too. Same thing.
There was 2 phases. That's
No,
probably why
I know.
it's
But I'm
confused.
saying police and fire. Like what is it fee for that?
Yes.
Or, all right. How much is the fee?
How what?
How much is the fee?
For this one, it's $775
This one's for public
per home.
That's,
This is for police and
I know,
fire and
I
all
know.
the houses in this district.
I know, and that's when is that the developer?
The homeowners that buy those properties have to pay this annually.
I know, but when they want to do like a workshop with the community.
This is just for those homeowners that are buying new parcels. New
I
homes.
know that. But when they want
that is disclosed to them when they're buying the homes.
I know that. When I'm saying like what I'm trying to get at, like what I'm saying is when we do sources, and are they going to do more sources like for the future? So like you can lower the amount.
This just covers the cost of that neighborhood.
No, but I'm saying, are they ever going to have any like generate revenue at some point? And any leader have a plan for like a emergency fund, so when they can't afford it, or at one point, like emergency fund for the citizens, the public, that kind of fund? You know what I mean? Have you guys ever thought of that? the management and all that?
Well, the only way to cover that cost would be for the rest of the taxpayers to start covering.
I know, but we're paying that for it anyway. But I'm saying, I'm really good. To create plans, to create revenue, to create jobs, to do things like that for help public services to pay their water bill. Mowing down the bit. Thank you very much for that. I get gradually the city is feeling a lot better now. I mean, but have you thought we're like, for example, the cannery, the water over there?
We have to stay on this item, Mr.
I know. I'm going to go out there. I'll do that for Pokemon. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do we have any other speaker cards?
No, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, is there a motion?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2019-56, approving the proposed boundary 57 boundary for Solorio Park 2 subdivision for annex of territory into Communities Facilities District Number 5.
Second.
Motion and second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We're going to move to item
Thank you.
A17. I believe, Mr. Richmond, you called this?
This is the City of Hollister approving a regulatory permit for higher level of care to operate a medical cannabis dispensary at 1802 Shelton Drive. One speaker, Keith Snow.
I did, but he did.
Hang on a second. Mr. Richmond, Councilmember Richmond had a
Thank you. I did pull that item, and I wanted to take.
No, but I thought Maria Mendez today.
Hang on, Mr. Snow, you'll be next.
Aye.
You'll get a chance, I promise. I want to thank the businesses located at that location for giving me a tour of the location. That happened actually before the last meeting. As you know, I had to leave early at the last meeting, didn't get a chance to thank them. I wanted to thank them for going out of their way to give me a complete, and others, members of this council, and the city manager was there, and other people. I wasn't the only one. Very thorough tour, and a representative of the police department was there. I want to thank the chief for that, and going over their security plan and going over their thing. And I was just tell you experience-wise, I have experience in industrial operations, about 22 years worth. And I was very impressed with the equipment that they have. I was very impressed with what I saw as the professionalism of the people who were running the place and had an idea on how to do industrial operations. And just wanted to give them a public thank you for having us by.
Okay. Mr. Snow?
That's good one. Like you said, they help your wife too for the condition too. Most of medicine. I can't mess up. But I talked to Maria Mendez, and I know. I talked to Brett on the phone too today, but we talked about like a lot of things. And one thing we did talk about with Maria Mendez, have you figured how much money to break things down to the Greenfield? And have you ever thought, because you guys got these communities over here, what about if you have people like the Camas People's Community or wherever, right in the community or city? Because it seems like we're not getting it yet. It's been over a year. She's been doing her job.
But did you have a question about this particular license on this address?
No, on top of the license. On top of all the counties license. We had two ones are licensed, right?
This one.
I got the one there. Okay, the one that's the main one, right? Okay, on there is there far things in the building. Is the building up at the code? Is there how much? Are they going to produce wax? Are you going to make wax? Are you going to do wax on the property? Are you going to do anything else?
Okay, Mr.
or just a cultivation only?
Yeah, this is about a license for a dispensary.
What?
A dispensary. That's
I
what
know
this
dispensary.
license
I
is
know
about.
what dispensary is. I've been there before.
No, I know, but that's what this item is about. Did you
I
have
know,
a
but
question about that?
how much money would give running for the city? Or you ever thought about? You thought, right, when you were involved with this with Ray Finn and Victor Gomez Stratus for years, right? For the public, right? How much money is he going to create on revenue on the dispensary on Shelton Road?
Okay, so your question is what kind of revenue is expected from this
And
license?
for the license
at this
and for the
dispensary?
tax.
Okay.
And
Sure.
what do you break it down? For fires, for police officers, sources, Mr. Martin Richmond, all that.
Okay, fair question.
Thank you.
Would you have an answer for him?
Yeah, so the city expects to receive 5% of their total gross sales for annually, right?
Do we have an estimated number that would be yet?
No, it's our first dispensary
It'd
here,
be the
so
first
it'd be
dispensary,
kind of
so
a little
it's-
premature to come up with that, but I can talk to the applicant and see if we can get,
An estimated
an estimate.
number. Okay, Mr. Snow? Okay. Is there, there's a, Councilman Richmond?
We have to be careful on doing these estimates because I do not want to compromise their business plan, whatever it is. That would put us in a bad light. I want to say that I did receive a letter from one constituent who did not like the location. I looked at the location very, very carefully when I was there. I found it to be appropriate. It's a good location. I didn't see any residential areas anywhere near the thing. I thought the building was appropriate. I thought the security was appropriate. In fact, I have to say honestly that it exceeded my expectations, and I was expecting a good operation, but it exceeded the investment and the work and the quality and the coordination with the police department and so on and so forth, and their ability, especially to not have to handle cash, exceeded my expectations, and I think, and that's why I'm going to support this item. Thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Lenore?
I did tour the facility with Marty, and I was impressed with the security. There's like 300 cameras or so on the site. And I do want to thank Officer Don Burchell for all of his efforts. He's been, would I say it wrong? It's Criswell. No,
Well, we'll thank Don, too.
Don. Do I have who was there at the tour? Okay, I'm sorry. I felt that you were. I thought that you took a very professional direction on that facility. I felt like you have been doing a really good job, and also you too, Maria. I want to thank the Cannabis Affairs Division for overseeing this project.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Is there a motion?
I make a motion that we accept resolution number 2019-58, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Foster approving a regulatory permit for higher level of care to operate a medical cannabis dispensary at 1802 Shelton Drive.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. Thank you, everyone. We've gotten through the consent part of this. Do we have any students here tonight that need to be headed home for their homework?
Doesn't look like you want to give
No. All right. We do. Okay, let's take a 5-minute break then.
Sorry. I knew I was thinking. You were looking at me like this. So, good job. Oh, it's okay. He's done. That's a bad smoke.
You look like it, right? That's the whole thing.
to item C, public input. This is the time for anyone in the audience to speak on any item not on the agenda and within the subject matter jurisdiction of the council. Speaker cards are available in the lobby and are to be completed and given to the city clerk before speaking. When the city clerk calls your name, please come to the podium, state your name and city for the record, and speak to the city council. Each speaker will be limited to 3 minutes with a maximum of 30 minutes per subject. Please note that state law prohibits the city council from discussing or taking action on any item not on the agenda. Do we have any speaker cards tonight?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. We have a written correspondence from Joseph Thompson, and our first speaker is Faith Fernandez.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and City Council members. I wanted to stop by and say hello, and for those of you that I have not had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Faith Fernandez, and I am chair of the City Hollister Youth Committee. We meet here monthly in the city chambers to discuss issues that are relevant to our city's youth. Our committee was formed to provide a voice to the youth and to also give those who want to participate a place to develop leadership skills. The Hollister Youth Committee is basically an advisory board that encourages the city youth to be active, contributing members of the community through events and activities to promote a sense of pride in our city committee. In our city, our committees is ready to collaborate with you on improving the communication and relationships with the youth of our city. I know I only have a short time, so I'll end by saying that we, the committee, would be very interested in participating in any movement to bring a new library to the city of Hollister. The act of going to a place where one can physically seek out knowledge, where you can hold a book in your hand, stimulating mental imagery and comprehension of narratives, is a proven key to one's development and ability to learn, especially in children. Our computers, smartphones, televisions, podcasts, and even studying at Starbucks or visiting Barnes & Noble is not an adequate replacement for a modern library facility that is equal to what you would find in most cities in this region. So I ask that you please keep the Youth Committee in mind when you initiate any initial phases begin. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much for staying around.
Thank you.
Keith Snow. Public comment.
Thanks, Council. Excuse me, I do have speech impairment, so I'd like to, because I didn't get a flu shot, two flu shots, but I get like some flu a little bit. But that's what I'm talking about. On top of that, that's concerning my consensus. Or look on the flu shots. We should put some on the paper for encourage people to make sure you get the flu shots. Get 4 kids passed away, state of California, and other things that are happening in our city. That we should do more for the public services. Like I mentioned earlier, we need to generate revenue. Like help the people that get unfortunate, that can't affordable, and then what someone said earlier too, my idea too, and my concept that we should have on the local city library, we should own the city own shelter, we should take control of our city. For our leadership, and like all this $1.6 million mess, like overtime pay, we need to monitor all of business and our city employees what they're doing. What about city employees? How much overtime they getting? And not the firefighters. Is that the firefighter thing? 1.6 is that, but the police officers too, because I mean they did a wonderful job. But $1.6 million is a lot. I feel that some of the teachers pay their fair share, more money on the contract. Because we had to go, do you know that we go all the way over there? Then, before June said they can't have no yard when they had yard in the Sherwood City, right? They misled that part, like a lot of misleading things, right? But for a fact is, we need to take control of our city. We need to get more involved with the youth commission. I think we make a little brief in the left, and to create the youth commission thing. Jessica, the one to talk right there. But what's you guys' goals? Are you said that, Mayor, with the council? What goals? When do you have the next meeting? Tell me. Thanks.
Thank you very much. Mr. Stowe.
Gina Arnold.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Gina Arnold from the Hollister Downtown Association, and I wanted to invite you as well as the public to our downtown spring cleanup that we have coming up on Saturday, April 20th from 8:30 to 11:30. We will be meeting at my office at 514 Monterey Street. And this year, not only will we be cleaning up downtown, we are partnering up with the Integrated Waste Management Services. So all of my volunteers that come help clean up downtown will get to go to their event out at Vets Park and have lunch. So that has been a sponsored item. So I wanted to invite everyone. We have 475 of these table tents throughout San Benito County to let them know about our events in downtown. And I just wanted to issue you all a personal invitation. Hope to see you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Barbara Saunders.
Hi, I'm Barbara Saunders, who loves to live here. I've been so happy since I moved to Hollister. And again, I want to issue a giant thank you. Since I've been here, you've been improving all the roads. You've put in incredible crosswalks with lights that'll flash to help you get across, and many other improvements. The roads are getting better. It was a little inconvenient in my neighborhood for a while, but it's not anymore. And I would like to send a thank you to everyone that was a part of it. And then I'd like to kind of issue a pleas to the public. So many times I see people not using the crosswalks, not using the traffic signals, riding their bike in the street in a place that isn't a bike lane. And just the other evening I came home and there was a guy laying down, and he wasn't injured. He was just being a nut right near Johnny's Bar in the crosswalk.
Wow.
And I was a little shocked. Eventually he got up and, kind of crawled away, but then he got up and stood up and walked away, and I was like, wow, it's a good thing I'm always looking, because I don't drive much at night anymore. But I want to thank everybody, because every one of you and me are taxpayers that help make all these good things happen, make our city safer and more pleasant all the time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Layla.
Hi, I'm Layla. I'm 24, and I've lived here my whole life. I know that Hollister is kind of at a time where we're going through a lot of changes, obviously, and I think I've said it before, but I want Hollister to change for the better and not for the worse. I want people to move here because they want to live here, and I want them to join the community and be a part of the community and start a business here and contribute to the community. I don't want them to move here because they feel like they're obligated to live here because it's the only place they could afford it and they have to do everything else out of town. I want them to join the community, and I think that it's good when the community grows, because I like to see new faces come to Hollister. I think everybody who's lived here for a long time was new at some point, and I like to see more diversity in Hollister. I think it will bring more businesses, and there will be more clientele to support the businesses, if you will, because I know that a lot of businesses will look at your city and your population size and your median income and your education level if they want to consider bringing a certain business here. And I do feel that Hollister has actually gotten a lot more resourceful and diverse in the past 6 or 7 years. I'm seeing a lot of good new businesses like Grocery Outlet, Walgreens, Panda Express, a bigger Starbucks, a bigger Ace, and I hope that that could create some more jobs, and I hope we get more of it. I just hope that we don't get too much ahead of ourselves, and I hope we do it the right way and not the wrong way. And I think that we should be more, it's so easy for people to complain, but I want us to be more solution-oriented rather than complain about why aren't we widening Highway 25? Why are they building so many houses? Why does your high school have a weird mascot? I'm a proud hay baler myself. Not my words, but I do want to see our city grow and thrive and prosper. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, thank you very much. Move to item D1, City Manager's Report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. On a rare occasion, I get to do something sort of fun. A couple weeks ago, our police chief had the opportunity to go down to the California Police Chiefs Symposium, and he was surprised with an award by the president of the Special Olympics for our participation in the torch run. So Chief Westrick and the City of Hollister and the City of Hollister Police Department got an award of excellence and for their appreciation and dedication to the Special Olympics and the Special Olympics of Northern California for their participation in the torch run. And I don't know if you folks aren't aware of it. We run from about the fairgrounds to the police station. Several officers participate in carrying the torch. I think Dave runs about 100 feet of it. So there's many more people to thank other than Dave. But I just wanted to let you folks know that this is something that I think is something pretty special, and we don't get a lot of opportunity to get presented awards, and this is especially on the state level. So I want to thank Dave and every single person that participates in these events out at the PD. So thank you, Dave.
Thank you. We'll be doing a polar plunge this Saturday if you want to join me.
Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Good job, Dave. Awesome. Great job. You represent so good.
That's it. Sorry.
All right. All right, we're going to move to item F1.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. F1 is the return of the contract, San Juan Bautista contract. They had signed it. We had talked about the section number 5, the insurance limits. That was one of the significant changes. There was some other changes in there that had been brought to light. A couple of grammatical errors, nothing too invasive. And there is one part, I don't know if C2, independent contractor, and what that does is basically identifies the responsibilities of the contractor and the contractee. Something a little bit more substantial than I believe what we had in the past. Any questions?
Councilmember, Vice Mayor Richmond.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you know this, and I don't know if Brett's still here. Do you know what it cost us, or if it cost us anything, to change the insurance limits to $5 million? He is here.
I read sign language. I think he said 0.
0 would be a good number.
There is no additional cost.
Thank you very much.
We already have those limits.
Okay. Thank you. Then one break today on the fire contract.
The financial impact of the $228,000. That's just the contract amount.
Correct.
Okay. Is there any questions from council? For me, again, I'm going to have the same concerns as far as these contracts that are not. I know San Juan is trying their best to pay as much as they can, but we need to really work on these contracts to make it work countywide. And did we solve the issue with them as far as for all new homes paying into the CFD and the $350 going into paying for fire service?
Yeah, I'm not aware of that. I don't know if that was addressed.
The two new developments, I spoke to Ed this morning. The two new developments that they have going on do have a community facilities district attached to it, to like sort of like ours. It takes care of a number of things. But I think to your question specifically, Mayor, is that revenue that's generated by the city of San Juan Bautista via that mechanism is not necessarily directly coming to the city of Hollister. It's just their inflator is built into the cost of their annual base fee, so to speak. That came out badly, but
well, no, I understand
yeah,
what you're saying.
yeah.
Again, the problem is there will be more growth, and if we're not keeping caught up as far as these other numbers, we're going to find ourselves falling behind quickly. It's one of the issues I've had with some of these, with the new contract. Vice Mayor Richmond?
Can I recommend we agendize this so we can have a full discussion on this issue at some later date? Because it involves both San Juan Bautista and the county. It involves different amounts and numbers, and it also involves getting them on board, whatever we want to do. So could I recommend that to you, Mr. Mayor?
Absolutely, sir. Councilmember Resendez?
Yeah, I don't know if I can support it either. Honestly, I think that you guys are doing a wonderful job. It's nothing personal with you guys, but I didn't get elected here to maintain the status quo. If we're hearing concerns from other council members about the contract, then I think we need to address it. How do we stop this from happening again and again? There's a whole new council here. I'd really like for us to revisit it. So thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor, for bringing that up. I'd love to see it agendized, and I can't support anything at this time until we have a in-depth conversation about the current contract that we have with the...
I think it's important to point out that during we had a consultation about 2 years ago with a consultant group. What the group had determined was the percentages of calls that we are responsible for. The city of Hollister runs on 80% of the calls in our call volume. San Juan Bautista has 5%, and then the county has 15%, to total the 100%. When you break down the amount of money that everybody is contributing to this, it actually breaks down to that same amount. San Juan Bautista provides 15%. Actually, they provide a little bit more because they have a facility, the firehouse that we use, and some equipment. San Benito County provides just about 15% of the overall general fund. Plus, that's as much as we pay or we respond to their calls. So the breakdown is actually pretty accurate, especially according to what that consultation group provided us as far as analytical information is concerned. I think that's important to note.
And I appreciate that. Again, I just don't think right now is the appropriate time. I'd really like to have an agendized discussion on this issue to see how we can revisit it.
And if I may jump in here, and I apologize, this council should keep in mind that in November 19th of last year, the council adopted the contracts with San Juan Bautista, and that was part of the Safer contract. I really, really wish that San Juan Bautista would have allowed us to just do an amendment to this contract to adjust the insurance, because that's really the only thing that's changing. You have a current contract with San Juan Bautista. They didn't sign that particular one because they were seeking a much larger liability amount, and I think we've kind of addressed, now we can get there and it doesn't cost anything, so it's just technically what I would consider a minor change. Our recommendation is to execute this contract, because if we're not executing this contract, we're not gaining the dollar amount that we're at least supposedly trying to get here, and we may run into a situation with our SAFER grant. If the council wants us to agendize an item to kind of go over all the contracts as they currently exist, I have no problem doing that, and we can talk about the good things in the contract and maybe the not so good things in the contract. And as the mayor has suggested, and we all know that they being San Juan Bautista and the county of San Benito are both getting probably a really good deal from us. There's no question that we are subsidizing this, but I think part of it was that was the direction that the former council wanted to go. I think that it's important for all of our community, because we are sort of one community in the sense that for top-notch fire protection services, it's important whether you get in an accident on Union Street or on Union Road or you get in an accident on Fifth Street. You want to make sure that the most qualified individuals are responding to that call. In addition, I'm sort of begging and pleading that we go ahead and we adopt this resolution. We get this contract stated. All of these contracts have a 270-day termination policy. So there's at any point in time, if the councils or the Board of Supervisors or the City of San Juan Bautista City Councils want to terminate these contracts, you absolutely can. But I think it is fair for this council to absolutely understand where we were and where we are now and how the financial part of this thing actually comes together. And keep in mind, both San Benito County, the City of Hollister is providing basically the same level of service as we were last year, only we're getting about $550,000 more a year. I don't know if you would have gotten any more than that. We had long negotiations over that, and the City of San Juan Bautista is very similar. There's some things that are built into this contract that we pay for, but last year their contract amount was $163,000. It's $230 now, or $228. So I think that you have done a really good job getting more than has been gotten in the past. But I would agree that there's always room for something new. I just want to make sure that we don't get ourselves in a pickle by not doing what we kind of already said we were doing, 4 months ago.
Let me get Councilman Lenore first.
Well, and the contract with the county it's already done.
They signed theirs, but my intention was to come back to you folks and increase theirs as well. There's no reason why that San Juan Bautista
increase the liability.
Yeah, it's at $5 million too, because there's not a cost associated with it. So.
Okay, and there's no cost associated with it.
No.
Okay, Vice Mayor Richmond.
Thank you. We're getting further deeper into this than I wanted to get at this time. That's why I wanted to agendize it. I think it deserves a full agenda discussion, maybe several discussions, and I'm glad you volunteered to do this. I don't see what we have to gain by not approving this. After all, it really is. The truth of the matter is we're already in with the county. All this really does is increase the liability insurance to $5 million at no charge to us. And, I would just as soon have the liability insurance high with no charge to us, just in case somehow or another, God knows how, the way the law works these days, we wind up on the wrong end of the liability stick, okay? I just as soon have the liability insurance as high as possible, with protecting us as well as San Juan Bautista, especially if it's at no cost. The real question about agendizing it for the future, and I won't go into any details so I don't violate anything on the agenda, but the real question is what to do about the future. It's not what to do about today, because today is today, wherever it is. So that's my input, and I'll be very receptive to doing it in the future, to talking about it in the future.
Okay. Do we have any speaker cards?
Yes, Mr. Mayor. Resolution number 2019-59, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister authorizing the mayor to execute the amended contract with the City of San Juan Bautista for continued fire protection services. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
Mayor, into like bill Bob, ain't there like ain't there peace source with the fire on the contract? Is the contract buying the contract? You know what they're buying contract, like his spot. He got some bank a contract. And that don't tell you the much because insight in the future, that's my thing is the future. Our future is blank. When we get these contracts, proposed contracts, not parts contracts. How you say, right? But it's a contract. Ain't got to propose a contract you do. Respond, you can't break it. You go buy it. They merit the contract. So, point to answer the question. On the contract said before, earlier, when I thought about what more to say about it earlier. You look on the contracts, and when I get a couple of contracts, and I bought couple, so like how much money are paying for the fire trucks? For their and Brett said giving that. I was back on for the email. They sent an email back. So we had to add the dollars for the accommodate the sources, both sources. We know for a fact we go over there, gotta listen to Scanline. I know the fact that all kinds of crime in the city, and I know for a fact, and that's back on with this. Can't tell me, are ever gonna do this? Can't and Marty. They're all talking about this for my district. And no one seems like no one done nothing. But they know what's going on. Sources, right? All on they can come our city, like you can't tell me. What I'm trying to get at, because I got a speech parent too, so once understanding what you look at the contracts, how can $2 million revenues on the contracts? And even being said McCann pay more. Hello, San McCann County doesn't get. We're dealing with San Juan Batista. We're going all the way over there for fire services. When the big fire, as fire captain, I want to say them people making fun of it because I think it's not funny nowadays how we're spending our dollars. And I would say we're investing dollars. I would see what investment are we doing. To Mr. Brett, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Elias Salinas.
Good evening, Mayor and Council members. Elias Salinas. I strongly encourage the council to stick to what is on the agenda, and what is on the agenda is actually to pass this without a cost to the city. That's exactly what's on the agenda, nothing else. If you want to discuss about the contracts that you've had with San Juan Batista and the county, which were approved already last year, and the mayor has been on the committee for quite some time, come back when you have a chance as a member yourselves and request for it to be brought on the agenda. But tonight, let's just stick to the agenda and let's get the council to approve this. Thank you.
Just for clarification, this conversation is about approving the contract, and it's been requested by another councilor to have that conversation in the future. Do we have any other speakers? No?
I have no more speaker cards, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion?
I make a motion to accept resolution number 2019-59, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister authorizing the mayor to execute the amended contract with the City of San Juan Batista for continued fire protection services.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. Is all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against?
No.
No. 3-2. Let's vote. We'll move to item F2.
This was a good read.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the City Council. Good evening. The government code requires that planning agencies each year report to the the State Office of Planning and Research and Department of Housing and Community Development on the annual general plan progress. But before we send that report to the state, the government code requires that we have a meeting with the City Council, and the City Council review and approve a resolution adopting the report, and that the City Council directs staff to send the report to the state. The complete report is in your packets. Tonight we will be just providing a brief overview of 2018 and the general plan that we currently have and that we are currently implementing since 2005. Regarding the land use element of the general plan, as you can see, basically starting from page 76 of the progress report, the Planning Commission has adopted 52 separate resolutions, including but not limited to 16 site and architectural reviews. Site and architecturals, as you know, are essentially just development of either multifamily or commercial or industrial buildings. Also, 2 pre-zones for annexations, 6 tentative maps, 2 minor subdivisions, 9 conditional use permits, and 1 general plan amendment. Page 76 of the report kind of gives a brief description of all the different projects that the staff was reviewing in part. And we just would like to really point out that no matter if we are dealing with a 150,000 square foot industrial manufacturing building out in the industrial business park, or if we're dealing with a resident who is interested in putting a shed in their backyard or expanding, doing an addition on their home because their family is growing, we at planning staff, my 2 colleagues and myself, we give our undivided attention to each applicant as best as possible and equally as possible. We try to maintain that as best as possible with everybody. As you know, the City of Hollister has an adopted housing element, and it's really, really important for many reasons. One, for example, various state grants require that the cities or the jurisdiction have a adopted housing element for grants. One, for example, either competitive grants or non-competitive grants. As an example, last year, the Housing and Community Development of the State of California had a non-competitive grant for housing-related park program grant. And because of that, the City of Hollister received an amount of $659,573. And the only reason was because we had a certified housing element and because we come before you every year essentially asking for the adoption of this annual general plan progress report, and we send it to the state. And so because of that, the funds are now being used to expand the parks facilities at McCarthy Park. So as indicated previously, the complete report is in your packets. The housing element report, the complete report of that was actually presented by Jamila Sakah, our housing coordinator, at the February 25th meeting. However, it's also part of this general plan progress report, and it will be sent to the state along with the rest of this report. So with that, staff recommends that the City Council review the annual general plan 2018 general plan progress report, consider written and oral public comments, and approved resolution number 2019-60, accepting the report, and direct staff to forward the report to the Governor's Office of Planning and Research and the California Department of Housing and Community Development. Thank you. Are there any questions for staff?
Questions from council? Vice Mayor Richmond?
I have to be honest with you, I haven't read the report. Thank you for the synopsis.
You're welcome.
Does the report contain anything in it concerning our going forward with doing an update of our general plan, our new general plan?
Yes, it does. There is a description within the general plan progress report indicating that the City of Hollister has started its process for the update of the general plan, essentially adopting bylaws for the General Plan Advisory Committee, and also starting their General Plan Advisory Committee members, which we have 2 City Council members already in place and 1 Planning Commissioner in place, and requesting that the 2nd Commissioner be on board at our next meeting and open up basically for the 5th member from the public. So all that's included in the report.
What's the next big step, and after we get the commission filled out, what's the next big step and when we can expect it to happen?
The next big step would be essentially having the choosing the consultant that's going to work with us on the environmental impact report. That's basically going to be helping us prepare the different technical studies that are required as part of the general plan progress or general plan report. And so therefore, what the plan is, we currently have three consultants on board, or not on board, but that have submitted a proposal. However, what the city is going to be doing is we're going to be asking that there's a few changes that need to be indicated on the proposal. One, the discussion about growth management program, and another one, the Association of Monterey Bay Area Governments is really working with cities to adopt some type of air quality report on our general plan. So what we would like to do is include that on a proposal, reopen it, and hopefully try to see if we can get more consultants on board, so we can have more of a pick to choose from. And we're hoping that we do that within the next 2 weeks. Do the amendment to the request for proposal and send it out and give the consultants 2 to 4 weeks to respond.
2 to 4 weeks to respond. So 2 weeks plus 4 weeks is 6 weeks, and we take it back and we have to evaluate it. So what you're saying is basically we're not going to do anything. I won't say we won't do anything. That's a wrong terminology. Excuse me. Forgive me.
That's okay.
We're not going to be able to actually can that step up for 2 months probably.
Within 6 to 8 weeks, we're hoping that we have a consultant.
Yeah.
Yes. And,
Okay.
and our GPAC ready to go.
Thank you for the update.
You're ready. You're welcome.
Councilmember Lenore.
Well, thank you very much. I really enjoyed this report. I did read it all. Not only did I read it all, but I lived it on the Planning Commission for 6 years.
Yes.
The information of some of the council moves was very helpful, because even though I was on Planning Commission, I didn't really follow the city council.
Right.
I was just concentrating on the planning part.
Right.
Very comprehensive. And Mr. Mayor, I just want to say respectfully, this is a great example of smart planning. There are so many facets to planning, from air to water to sewer to circulation. There's just a lot involved in running a city as far as the general plan. This was a great refresher for me. I'm sure I'm going to reflect back to that. It also kind of tells you what's coming forward. Nicely done, and I think that the HCD hopefully will welcome it and be good to go with it. Thank you for your comprehensive report.
Thank you, Madam Councilmember.
Thank you. And you're absolutely right. Very important. The question I had for you, when we had the conversation about getting this moving to the next steps,
yes,
the member at large, the public member at large,
right?
Do we have to wait for the Planning Commission first, or how does that?
We don't have to.
We can open that up so we can move at the same time, so we can get on board and get this, a schedule put down and.
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree with you, Mayor.
It's a big project, and we need to get moving. As obviously, it takes time.
It does.
And we know we got to find the consultant, and I think what you point out was very important part of what we're trying to do. So. I'm in total agreement with you.
Very
I
well.
want to make sure we're moving with the member at large also at the same time. So once we have those pieces together, we can start having those meetings.
That makes sense. Thank you for that.
And
Definitely.
I just wanted to add that back when this first formed, we did advertise for it. I did receive 3 applications. One is no longer qualified probably to serve on that. But I did have 2 others. I don't know if you want me to re-advertise for that.
I think we need to as we're getting going here.
And did you want to, we'll work out the due date factors later?
We can get together, Christine, absolutely. And do that.
I have one last thing.
Yes.
I really wish that the residents in town, this should be required reading. It really tells the whole story. So I wondered, Councilmember Resendez, if you would be inclined to post a link on Facebook for this report.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I think it would be good reading for some folks. No, I know he would. I knew he would.
I withdraw my application.
Do we have any speaker cards?
Resolution number 2019-60,
a resolution of the City Council of the City of Hollister approving the City of Hollister Annual 2018 General Plan Progress Report. I have one speaker, Keith Snow.
Yeah, you're not at the mess, right? There's all kinds of mess around your assistant, all that. I want to get caught with the report. You can laugh and make fun of people on the report. On your services for homeless people, is that on the report? What's the content of the report? When we do the report, you got the detail, break it all down. Do you know all the development you guys created? The mayor created all the development. Vice Mayor, all you there, Marty. All the town's money to cost the taxpayer thousands, millions of dollars. Did you know that we own the water? Do you know all the contracts that's been done? Do you know that we used to own the landfill? Sign out to Baptist County? It's on auction. Do you know all this stuff here? You know, this can cost bank. So you know the sound teachers pay the fair share. You remember that day when we did the meeting for the Metro G? When Tony flipped. But he made a real estate agent. He should know what it costs. Do you know that for housing, they ain't no for housing in the city. Do you know how much money that costs people they can afford to live here? The bank. Do you know all the Toronto counties? I went to a report to Foley on the for housing, homelessness. You can meet like Rollin on the way to homeless over there. Do you see count all the homeless people we have here? Do you know that people get on the big foreclosures? Do you know jobs? Do you put that in a report? How many jobs have we created? You guys may laugh all you want, but it's got proficiency, sophisticacy, perfection. Ours not good. It's unacceptable. Do you know that, well, first of all, you made this plan before the school district years ago on campaigning, and they're going to do the roads. Do you know we paid $1.87 million with Measure W money on the Measure G thing? Are you break all that down on the taxes? You got to put on the ballot. Are there taxes for businesses? All that there. When you put on the report, pick up big sufficiency. So thank you very much. And everyone send me a copy.
I believe your question is making sure the report contains homeless,
all that
business, and these are all,
and all the houses to be in the future.
This is all
generation.
In the report. It will be.
So all the report in the report. That report there.
It's part of the general report.
No, but it's in the report now.
Of housing.
Yes. On all the ones that future. I guess I got from Tom Sessions' office.
Thank you, Mr. Snow.
Thank you.
I have no more speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Speakers? Okay. All right. Is there a motion?
I move that we adopt Resolution 2019-60, approving the City of Hollister's annual 2018 General Plan Progress Report.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries. We'll move to item
Thank you.
F3.
I vote yes.
Make this quick and easy.
Carol, you want to give the report?
I'm waiting with bated breath.
Is this coming from the city clerk?
So, at our last council meeting, I had asked council if they would like me to bring forth a resolution requesting a legislative recess for the city of Hollister for July 2019. The reason we request this is to give not just council, but also city staff the opportunity to take vacation, a break from all ad hoc and council meetings. So I am.
This was done in the previous
It has
years.
been done previous years. It's worked out well. So I present it to you.
Okay. Vice Mayor Richmond?
A couple of weeks ago, I said we're probably going to be taking a vacation legislative recess in July, and everybody said no. I can't remember who everybody was. I remember a big no coming up from everybody who was available. But I knew it. It's okay. I'm not angry about it. I'm just laughing about the fact that when I said we're probably going to take a legislative recess, and I heard everybody go, maybe not, probably not. And the answer is probably will. And, you know, I think I put enough, I think I and the rest of the council, not just me, but I think I and the rest of the council have put enough work on the staff's shoulders this year, certainly to deserve at least a month to catch their breath. So I'm going to support this legislative recess, and I do appreciate the fact that the council was willing to take on the extra burden of the burden of an extra meeting. I notice, I know this is a caddy's thing to say, but I notice we haven't run out of things to put on the agenda. They seem to be as full as always, no matter how many days we work. I'll bet you if we worked four times a month, the agendas would still be full. It wouldn't make any difference. They kind of fill themselves up. So I appreciate the staff's hard work and extra work, and I'm going to support this, and I thank you.
Like government, it always grows. Councilmember Lenore?
I just want to say that I wasn't for this until I got on the council. And it's not that we're not going to work in July. I really do need some time to catch up because it's all the committees that you serve on. This business here is very doable. But when you're mixing in ad hoc and then you're mixing in committee assignments and they're working on big plans like AMBAG, it takes extra time for that. So I'll look forward to July to being some reading time for me. Thank you, staff, for everything that you do. I know we have a lot of things that we've been discussing, and I know it's a lot of work for you, so I appreciate it.
I know. Okay. In all seriousness, I would go back to the first few years when we didn't have the break, and a lot of the ad hoc meetings, different meetings, nobody was there, and they were canceled, and people were vacationing with their families as they should be, and it did work out pretty well. Now, I will say the meeting before the break is going to be a heavy meeting.
Yeah.
And the meeting after the break is a heavy meeting, but we make it all work pretty well.
I told my husband we've got to go on vacation in July this year.
Absolutely.
Because we always win in August. I go, we have to go in July
Highly
this year.
recommended.
I can't miss August since we're missing July.
Do we have any speaker cards?
Keith Snow?
Good morning, Mayor. You know, and I know. Bishop Goins made that up. Bishop Goins created that. That's right. All did there, and you guys always complain you don't make enough money. Not to see concerns, not to complain. The truth, and not to the guy said that too. I mean, not making enough money. So the point is right. And the one thing when do that part, make it two meetings there per month, not 3. That's ridiculous. And remember before Marty was supposed to control the agenda when you start going to meetings, but you ran for a race. You want to go by your word. If you're a vice mayor now, because you got promoted, and Vaquero got promoted by Ray Finn's position, to resign his seat.
Mr. Snow, what is your question?
No, my question is, when we do this, I'm at 4th of July. So in August, you guys deserve all the employees. in our government, right? Slow it all down. Where we create, where we create growth. What's on the agenda? You guys don't keep anything. And I'm not going to go there. Because we know how political government runs. I do. I'm already feeling Sacramento County. I know politicians. I know how it runs. I know about servants. So the point is, right, I know how they act. I know what they do. So the point is, right, you deserve July. Take August. Because the point is, watch what you, on the agenda. That's your, the message you guys make. And eyes. G, the yeses. We need changes. Our president don't want changes. You guys said that before and you never say it. Do you guys want changes? For the good? We know right from wrong. You're a public servant. Act like a public servant. I'm going to say, I did a speech impairment. You can laugh all you want. They make things what they want. At least I don't give up. I give for the people. I give for the youth. And all that. And that's July. What are you going to do in that July off? I need vacation. Once you sell enough books, educate the people. Educate your plan. When you come back, be fresh. Be happy. Be all that. What you can do? Take 2 months. Thank you. I'm for it.
Thank you.
I have no more
Thank you for
speakers, Mr. Mayor.
Okay. Is there a motion? Is there a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion that we adopt Resolution 2019-61.
Okay, there's a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion carries.
Hallelujah.
We will go to item G1, reports from city council members regarding their committees.
Okay. I got it down. Okay, so I just had one committee meeting since the last time we met on the 4th, which was AMBAG on March 13th. And just a quick thing, AMBAG's very busy. I'm enjoying the group. One of the things on the last agenda was the Big Sur Highway. They're doing studies to provide for more parking off the road because they have issue of people coming on, coming off. It's a busy highway, especially tourist season, so they're trying to facilitate some more parking that's safe. And then they need to address the restroom facilities because they're getting a little bit of mess from humans on that restroom. So they're going to try to provide more restrooms along the Big Sur Highway. The other thing, the big thing they're working on for fiscal year 1920 is a draft Monterey Bay region overall work program, and it's a biggie. That's one of those documents that I'm going to be studying in July, but I think we're going to try to do something in May, but it's very complex, so I'm starting to look at that. And then one last thing, I did mention to Mary Gilbert, who was in attendance, that we felt the AMBAC projections were low when we were discussing the growth management, so she's going to have somebody, Stephanie, probably from her office, I believe she was referring, take another look at those AMBAG projections. So that's all I have to report from that meeting.
Excellent. Councilmember Spencer.
I didn't have any meetings.
Okay. Vice Mayor Richmond.
Thank you. Since I left early last meeting, I'm having trouble keeping up with where I ended up on the reporting, so I might go back over one. I did go to the Economic Development Committee and participate in that report and in their meeting, and it was an excellent meeting, I thought, and a lot of give and take and back and forth about economic development and where we should go in the future. In addition to that, I believe the Economic Development Committee and the Chamber of Commerce will both be visiting the City Council, asking for money, of course, for their programs. In addition to that, we were scheduled to have a meeting of the Council of Governments. If you don't know who the Council of Government is, otherwise called COG, It's the local transportation authority, and so they run the bus system. They also run our highway system and our highway improvements. But unfortunately, we did not have a sufficient number of people to have the meeting, a quorum. Therefore, the meeting was canceled. We're scheduled again to have a meeting. I believe it is this Thursday, the 21st. And at that time, we are going to consider changing the time of the COG meeting to make sure we can get a quorum, because we only meet once a month. It's very important that we meet. And secondly, I hope that whatever time we change it to will make it more available to the public. I think that's very important, a very important committee, and having it 3 o'clock in the afternoon the way we are now makes it very difficult for much of the public to attend those meetings or even watch them. So we'll see what happens. I don't know what the proposals are going to be, but those are the two main ones for me. The ones that I should have been working on that kind of got laid by the wayside was the ethics ad hoc committee. I have not had a chance, and I've been the one who's been tied up, and I haven't had a chance to get with Councilmember Resendez about my first proposals. I have them in draft, and we will get together as soon as I get a chance. So thank you.
Okay. Councilmember Resendez.
All right. Real quick, we met not this past weekend, but the weekend before for the ad hoc committee with County Parks and the Tell Center. A lot of exciting stuff happening there. I think the mayor is going to talk a little bit about that, so I'll pass it off to him. As far as the animal shelter, this past weekend I went out to an estate sale that they had for the Pet Friends off San Felipe, and we talked a little bit about spay and neutering and the services they can offer out there, and of course what we're doing with the SNP bus. And then lastly, I just got an email right now. We're going to be having a tour at the animal shelter with our ad hoc committee on March 23rd, and the time is to be determined. That's all I got to report. Thank you.
Thank you. My meetings, I had a LAFCO meeting, and the major issues there, we voted for the new chair every year, and we chose Mayor Cesar Flores as the new chair and Mr. Betancourt as the vice chair of the committee. The other major item that we dealt with was annexation of 10 acres for commercial use along the San Felipe Highway 25 bypass, which is going to be very important so we get more commercial into our community. The ad hoc committee for the rec committee, we met with our partners at the county for their committee and discussing the sports park, and that would be Supervisor De La Cruz and Supervisor Hernandez, and we worked together to schedule visits at 3 different sport parks in Northern California. So we went and visited Twin Creeks.
I've been there.
We met with the owners out there to give us a tour and see what they're doing. The park was jam-packed, as they say they are every single weekend and most of the week. Very impressive operation they're running out there. He's offered to meet with us again to give us numbers and recommendations on a way to do it right. We also met with the manager at the Field of Dreams in Manteca to see what they were doing. Once again, they were jam-packed with people visiting their park and competing for their tournaments there. Then we went on to Ripon to go visit the park out there, and again, they were jam-packed with teams competing over there. And one common thing we saw at every single sports park is there's people from all over northern Southern California, Reno, camping, or not camping, but spending their money in these communities. The owners of Twin Creek pointed out how the hotels are very busy and the restaurants are very busy with the because of their facilities, and their facilities alone bring over $500,000 in sales tax to that area, which is very impressive. So we're going to get together again, meet, and try to understand some of these other parks, what's going on, how we can work towards a private-public partnership, see what options are out there, pick a location or a few locations so we can start having discussions with the public, get them involved. Next step is going to be working towards some conversations about the TEL Center, trying to set that up with a tour of Monterey Bay, University of Monterey Bay, Cal State, and so we can see their new facilities over there and get a better idea. We're going to have that conversation soon with the Intergovernmental Committee also. And that would be my report for the committees. Now we'll move to item 2, informational reports. Councilmember.
Okay, and I want to thank you for your work on the sports field, near and dear to me.
It's exciting.
Okay, it is very. All right, so just briefly, Wednesday, March 6th, met with Ellen at the Vets Building, and the gentleman there had a great meeting, showed me around. They're going to be negotiating a new contract, so we're pointing out a few things. And then on also that day, I worked with the mayor on the downtown parking in lieu fee meeting. We're making progress on that. We're doing some research as locations, cost, and how we tie it into some of the lots downtown that may be able to develop as a result of the in lieu fee. Then also, I had an informational meeting only on March 6th with Susan Logue from the library. She was just letting me know where they're at and where they'd like to head. And I did mention they have an ad hoc committee. But, of course, I was always interested in hearing what somebody has to say. And then the last meeting for the day was flavored tobacco with my friend here, Honor Spencer. We're making progress on that. We have another meeting scheduled for the 27th and join the youth that we're working with on that committee. Thank you.
Excellent. Councilmember Spencer.
I met with my friend to my left here for the flavored tobacco. We came up with some amazing ideas that we're going to go forward, I'm hoping, with. I also, Saturday on March 16th, I went to a ethics training that was hosted by LULAC at San Benito High School. Very interesting. Learned a lot more than what I learned 2 months ago. So it was good. I think the gentleman that did it did a very good job. He's from Southern California. He's a lawyer and he specializes in ethics. And that's about all I've done lately.
No, we went to the league dinner.
Oh, yeah, we went to the league dinner. Sorry, I forgot about
and
that.
You're going to give them everything.
Yes, and we have a
presentation on AB and SB bills, all kinds of information. A lot of it's not good, so I really need to. We're going to pass it on to you. I did provide it to planning staff, Brian and Billy and Abraham. Mayor, it's really not good, some of it. So we need to read that presentation. She'll send it to you.
I will send it to the rest of the council tonight.
Awesome.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Mayor Richmond.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. So let me start with my leaving early last meeting. I know many of you know the reason. My wife had a medical emergency, and I want to. If I start thanking everybody involved, I'm going to miss somebody. So I'm just going to say thanks to everyone involved at every level, and appreciate it. And the reason I didn't know her status, and I didn't want to disturb whoever was speaking, so I didn't say anything. I just took my stuff and left. If you see me leave like that, it's because of something like that. So she's doing well. She's home after spending some time locally at Hazel Hawkins and also some time at Good Samaritan Hospital in San Jose, and she's home now and doing better. So I thank everyone involved at every level. Appreciate it. I have a public service announcement that I've been trying to get out to everybody, but it's very difficult for me to do it. So I hope we can put this announcement perhaps on our sewer bills and the sewer bills from Sunny Slope. You know, if you are a resident of Hollister and you have a residential account with Recology, you're entitled to 2 bulk custom pickups a year. I don't think a lot of people know that. So you can call Recology and you can schedule a bulk pickup. Now, some of the items count for 2 pickups. But if you have a big couch or you have a mattress you want to get rid of or something, you don't have to, I'm not accusing anybody, but there are people who do it. You don't have to put it on your truck, sneak it over to some empty lot, and just knock it off. You know it happens because they don't walk out there by themselves, okay? You can call up Recology, they will schedule a pickup for you, and they will come to your home and pick the bulk item up, and you're entitled to a year. That is a big benefit that you don't get everywhere. Take advantage of that benefit. It's our trash bill is a big one. You might as well get everything you deserve from it. So call them. The number's on the internet, and make a reservation for a pickup, and they will come and pick up your bulk items twice a year, to a year. As far as the EDC goes, I know we're going to discuss it some more. I did write a recent article about where the jobs are. I am still getting many inputs from people in my district concerning speeding and running the stop signs. I was down, not in my district, I was down over by the Taco Bell here a while back with my wife, and people were racing by Kmart in the parking lot, and they were actually doing head-to-head racing. I know what a drag race looks like because I was young once myself, and they were doing drag racing with pickup trucks, and someone's going to get really hurt. We've got to find a way, in my opinion, to fund some traffic control. I did do some reading, and I see that many locations are now using gas tax money to try to fund some traffic control. If we don't start giving some tickets, we're going to regret it. I would hope that the ad hoc members of our intergovernmental committee get a chance. If they can talk to the county about making the same committee the Emergency Actions Committee. We were going to do that with the Fire Contract Committee, but the Fire Contract Committee went away, so we can't do it with that. I believe it's really essential that we get a operational emergency, not just a planning committee, but one that's willing to go out and audit and see that we're ready to respond to a public emergency. Look, we may go forever without a major problem, but the odds are not on our side. So I appreciate that. I did also write one way to communicate with the public, and I wrote a story about why we need a library and how old our library is and how inadequate it is. And let me tell you, it's older than almost most of you, and it's really inadequate. So I appreciate the time. You can always contact me. You can always email me at my official address, which is on the website. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Sendes?
All right. I've got a lot of stuff to report. So this past Sunday, I believe, or Saturday, I keep saying Sunday, the San Benito County Niner Empire invited me and Supervisor Hernandez and Supervisor De La Cruz to go out to the county homeless shelter and feed them some tacos, carnita tacos, rice and beans. I just want to thank them for inviting us out there. They are a new and up-and-coming, a fan club for the 49ers out here. They're doing a lot of great charitable events. So keep an eye out for them if you have any interest in joining them. They have a strong presence on Facebook. I look forward to working with them in the future. And preferably if we can get them involved in coaching the San Francisco 49ers the flag football league that we're going to have, that would be beneficial. I went to, I don't know if it's the American Legion or American Auxiliary yard sale and pancake breakfast. And again, I keep getting my weekends mixed up. I'm not sure if it was this weekend or the weekend before that. Thank you. It was a little small, but they're getting started and they want to do it annually and stuff, and I got to go pick up a couple things that I can use. I love yard selling, so I wanted to support and go out there and talk to them. Relay for Life. I attended the Relay for Life monthly meeting here. There was two parts to it. I attended the board of directors part, so I got to learn about them, where they're going to possibly host it at. I think they've got some loose ends to tie up, but they're looking at Rancho. And then the second part of that meeting was the team captains meeting, so I got to stay around for just a little bit and meet some of the team captains. They are in need of more teams, so if you have any interest or you want to support, go ahead and reach out to Relay for Life for that. I toured with the Community Action Board. I was invited out to tour the migrant camp, and they all over here off of Southside Road, so it's through the county. Supervisor Dela Cruz was out there as well. But they also have a transitional housing element. I'm not sure if most of the public is aware of that. I think there's about 20 homes or so that you can apply to get into, and they give you a limit of 4 months or whatnot to save up money to get into a home. They are also applying for a grant to expand that program out there too, so keep an eye out for that. Everybody knows that we're not just Hollister, but a lot of the Bay Area is facing some major serious housing issues. So the more services that we have out there, the better. If anybody ever needs some type of support as far as housing goes, then please contact me, and I'll be more than happy to point you the right direction. And I think that's it. Oh, if we can, like Mr. Vice Mayor said, I just put on my notes here, make sure that we agendize to revisit the fire contract. I'd appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mr. Vice Mayor, I will definitely bring up the Emergency Action Committee.
Thank you.
As you're pointing out to intergovernmental, I think it's very important. We as a parking committee group also have discussed a few different issues that are happening with parking, and if we're still on the same page, we wanted to ask if it's all right with the council for us to look at some of the other issues regarding parking that we have throughout our community. Parking lawns, just all kinds of different things we all know are happening throughout the community. Also the RV parking issue, we can be involved in some of that.
But for the current ad hoc, it's the downtown in lieu parking.
It's right now it's in downtown lieu, but we'd like to ask all of you, it's okay if we expand that citywide so we can really dive into it.
Look at the reverse parking in front of the high school.
Do the whole city?
But we have some work to do.
Well, we do, but
you're going to take a vacation in July instead of August. So
I'd like to do the parking, the downtown in lieu, and then
we will.
do the city.
Yeah, we will. We'll stay focused on what we're doing, but so we can add to it and start looking at some of the other issues.
Okay.
Okay.
I would consent to looking at other issues, and good luck with the RV parking issue.
Yeah, I know. It's a big conversation. That's why I think it's important for us to have those conversations. I know staff has been working on it, trying to get that answer, but we're going to need a lot of public input.
Someone has to make everybody mad. Good luck.
Vice Mayor Richmond pointed out the trash that can be picked up, or the bulk items. I did notice along the river again, we have a major trash issue happening there, people dumping in the river. So we're experiencing that. We're having some issues again with some of the homeless camping around the Park Hill that we need to address in some of the different areas that we've had problems in the past. We worked in the shelter for a reason, and we have to, again, let them know that shelter is there for their use. Not all are going to go, but doing some of the things they're doing is not acceptable in our community, and we will not accept it. The conversation I brought up at the last meeting, as far as having a discussion about moving the VLF fees into the road fund, so we have those dollars we need every year to get these roads done. Otherwise, we're going to find ourselves in the same situation. The traffic tax, gas tax, is $800,000. It's not going to do us anything. But with these funds, it's upwards of $2.5 million. No, we cannot transfer it all 1 year, but we need to work on figuring out how we each year add more to the road funds from that VLF until we put all those monies there, so we can fix our roads each year, and we're not scrambling in the future. I know we're going to be doing a lot of work this year, and I'm hoping we can have that discussion soon as far as which roads we're going to be working on as summer's approaching.
Yeah, I believe our SB1 resolution is coming. I think it has to be done before May 1st, so it'll be in April.
Did you get an update on the dollars on that?
Yeah, I mean, we'll have the new dollars amount in there with the roads.
Plus some of the other monies we're going to have, we can be at
you can
$3.5 to $4 million.
Yeah, you can add to that as much as the council desires.
Okay, so I'd like to make sure we're starting to move on that process and getting ready for the.
If I may, we're going to try to partner with the county on some of the roads they're going to do because they have a lot more money.
Let's go ahead and come to the microphone so the public can hear you.
Yeah, so there was a meeting that took place in this room a couple weeks ago with some of the county staff. There was some discussion about partnering on some roads that actually were in both jurisdictions, Buena Vista. The Union, or no, not Union, I'm sorry. They were going to do Union.
Buena Vista, I think it was Union.
Was part of it?
Yeah. So that's just something that we'll be bringing to the council to consider, is partnering with the county to merge the funds together to make it a bigger project.
SB1 funds?
Yep.
So we can have those discussions. It's very important so we start planning, getting ready for this year and get some of this work done. Thank you. I know you've been working hard on that. Did we get an update, while you're still here, can we get the update on, or the crosswalk on Ladd that hasn't been finished? Did we contract that out? On Ladd Lane?
Yeah, I will follow up on that. I believe the contractor, Crisp, was supposed to finish everything last week. So
okay.
Let me see where that's at.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Yep.
We have been hit by another graffiti person over this weekend, and I know the police are going to be working on that. I think the public did the right thing. They took pictures. They reported it. We need everyone's help. This is not something we can just solve on our own. We need everyone to participate, as far as if you have any information, even if you don't, take the picture so we have a record. Eventually we're going to catch the person that did it, make sure we send them a nice little present in the mail. The fine is it a $500 or $1,000 fine for? Did we? I thought we moved it up.
Yeah, I think we did, but I think it maxes out at 1,000.
1,000, yes, per incident.
14.
Per incident. So each wall is another $1,000. So we want to make sure we're here with you, public. Thank you for reporting it and help us help you.
Can I ask you a question on
yes.
that? What happened to our graffiti abatement program? It's no longer in existence.
City manager can help you.
So the graffiti abatement program was part of the redevelopment agency's funding. When that went away, we still have our stuff. Most of the graffiti that we are dealing with on public property,
right.
we get rid of it immediately or as
Yeah.
quickly as we can. On private property, we go through the process with code enforcement, et cetera, and they have 24, 48 hours. I can't remember.
48.
To abate it. What's that?
48.
Okay.
Well, I stepped into 7-Eleven because they got tagged pretty hard in the building, and that was 2 days ago.
Yeah,
so I'll let code enforcement know.
Please, yeah,
Thank
and
you.
I had a conversation with them this morning about
Okay.
the ones that I know about,
Okay.
so they're working on them.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
for letting
Thank
me
you.
ask
Sorry.
that.
Thank you, everyone. And that is all I have. City Manager?
Thank you. I just real quickly, as council members Spencer and Lenore mentioned, the state of California has got 2,700 legislative bills kind of in session right now. It's obviously it's the most ever in history. I think that the league is going to be asking us to either support or deny. Over 2,000 of them right now are housing related or have some component of housing. And as they mentioned, some of them are pretty brutal. So I am hoping that I'm going to try to get a policy together for the council to review. On some of them come up with kind of an emergency situation when they go to the floor and they want to vote. We want to either support or not support various bills, and I don't always have an opportunity to get it in front of you folks before that letter goes out. So I want to try to get something that we're all comfortable with on some of these bills, where if it's an emergency action, that we can send a letter out immediately. If we have time, I'll certainly come back to you folks for that support or disapproval, however we want to do it. So I'm hoping to do that here relatively quickly, because I think they're going to start coming down the pipe relatively fast.
And I think going on, expand on that, I think it's time we start talking about being a charter city so we have some independence from the state. The state is getting out of control. They want to run everything now and let them play their own play box over there.
Ready to write a charter?
They want to eliminate impact fees. Yeah.
Oh,
So,
yeah. All right. City Attorney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. No statement.
Chief.
Hey, a couple things. This morning we had the honor and pleasure of swearing in a new animal control officer, Officer Lacey Morris. She was actually an animal control assistant with us for about a year. She comes to us with some really good skills. She's actually a certified vet assistant right now. If you've followed our Facebook page and website, you'll see that there's been some improvements in, of course, some of the adoptable animal stuff. You'll see in videos and those kinds of silly things. She's the one who's been doing most of those. She's also in charge of putting up the stats, monthly stats on our website as well. So it's a really good addition to our team. In about a month, you'll see another item where I'll be comboing a couple of positions that we have and doing another full-time position. Thank you.
Excellent. Yes. Thank you.
I wonder if I could make a comment.
Yes, absolutely.
Chief, do you know, have you had a chance to talk to our planning department about impact fees for the animal shelter? I just wanted to know. Is that in
I have. We've had some preliminary conversations, but nothing solid yet. I'm looking for an equation, actually, for that.
Okay, but you're working on it.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you. City Clerk.
I just wanted to kind of give a little bit of a warning that on the 427, 428 workshop that we're going to be having, there is going to be a little bit of homework. So ahead of time, I may be sending you guys some paperwork for you to fill out to bring with you when you meet with him one-on-one. There may be a couple of things like that that will help you move that faster. So just kind of a heads up that if you see something from me, you may need to do it a little bit, like set something aside and get working on that, because I don't know how much it's going to entail, how much she's going to have, but just a heads up for you on that. So thank you.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll move to item G3.
For item G3, I have the mayoral appointment of Philip Stafora to the Airport Commission, and Council Member Honor Spencer's appointment of Elias Salinas to District 3 for the Airport Commission. And that would leave one open seat for District 2, which hopefully we can fill. And again, that doesn't have to be in your district. It could be county. I'm just waiting for an application.
They should be coming in soon.
Thank you. So if we have consensus on those two, then.
Councilmember or Vice Mayor Richmond has a question.
Yeah, I want to make sure I understand that. I have no objection to it. So this can be county because
No, it has to be in the city.
It has to be in the city.
But it doesn't have to be in his district.
But it doesn't have to be in the district.
Correct.
Thank you. That's what I wanted to get clarification. Not because it's District 2, but in the event. This is very specialized. It takes people who have an interest in the airport. I think we ought to consider perhaps in the future, at some time in the future, opening it up a little bit, maybe even allowing county. We ought to give a primary to the city, but we ought to perhaps consider it if we get stuck, because I know some people want to volunteer, but they have no real interest in the airport. Maybe they have no experience in the airport. Many of them could do it, but some of them just don't want to. They don't have an interest. So I appreciate in the future if we look at it. Thank you.
So that's something that would need to go to the Airport Commission to make that change in their bylaw, and then come to you for approval.
Sure. Thank you.
I think actually it's a good idea. Vice Mayor is correct. Very specialized, and those that have an interest, we need to find those that have a little more knowledge on airport. Oh, okay. So we have. Is there a consensus for these? You need a consensus on this?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. All right. Excellent. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
And we'll move to G4. That's you too, George.
Oh, yes, I'm This is for the Economic Development Ad Hoc Committee. We have assigned, by council consensus, that was assigned to Councilmember Resendez, who is unable to serve on the committee due to the time. The time interferes with his full-time position of work, so he would like to request that another council member that may be able to attend at that time be appointed.
Okay. Councilmember Vice Mayor Richmond's on there. Okay, I'll go ahead and I'll appoint myself. I know it's hard during the day.
Okay, yeah. Typically it's 3:30.
That's all right with everyone, unless somebody else wants to be on that committee.
I could be on it.
Do
I
you want
get
to be
off
on
at
the committee?
2:30.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
I would love to be on.
Councilmember Spencer?
Councilmember Spencer. Awesome. Thank you.
Meeting tomorrow.
Thank you.
Tomorrow.
Starting
It is.
tomorrow.
Tomorrow at 2:30?
Tomorrow.
Oh, Lord.
3:30.
Oh, 3:30. Yeah, I
Right.
can do that one.
Third Tuesday at 3:30.
I will check in the morning to make sure. That meeting is still scheduled. That will have a quorum.
Okay.
Well, that works out perfect because I have to be in San Francisco tomorrow morning. So, thank you.
And I won't be able to make it, so you're on your own. No, I should be there.
So there is a consensus.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for volunteering for that committee.
No problem.
Let's move to item G5.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. If I can try to get through this as quickly as possible. The PDF, not the Excel, not the Excel. If you'll recall, you had a brief report from SmartWatt a few months ago related to doing some energy efficient programs or projects within the city of Hollister. They initially did their preliminary feasibility analysis over at the police station because, as you may or may not be aware, we have a number of issues over there related to lighting and HVAC, et cetera, which is costing the city a fortune in energy costs. At the same time, or right when they got done completing sort of what they call their investment grade audit on the police station, they noticed that there was going to be some huge savings on that particular facility. And what the discussion was with us is looking at some of the other facilities that the city owns because you can take advantage of the 4217 California Government Code project thing. As long as you're saving at least $1, you can include more projects. And the idea behind it is that some of our other facilities, although they may be efficient, they're not perfect, but we could take advantage of the savings over at the police department as a mechanism to do some upgrades at other locations. So tonight, sort of what we would like the council direction on is sort of two things. One, finish the investment grade audit for the police department and move forward with that as a separate project, or essentially conducting an investment grade audit on all the facilities and kind of incorporating them all as one entire project. Before we get into some of the slides, I just want to let you know that from a financing perspective, our project of whether we do something around $1 million or $2 million really has no effect on the term of the loan, nor the interest rate. There may be some cost savings as it relates to, say, underwriting or something along those lines, but it's not necessarily anything that's so large that there's absolutely a true benefit one way or the other. Can we scroll down to the next one? So, if you recall, here's where we kind of are with the police department, with the lighting upgrades and the HVAC and doing some solar in the parking lot, and I believe actually on the roof. The total project cost is right around $870,000, and what you'll end up seeing is a pretty large savings as it relates to that building. Can we go one more? Then we had SmartWatt look at several other of our facilities: City Hall, Management Services, Recreation, Station 2, the Animal Shelter, Parking Garage, et cetera, et cetera. As you can see them all, I don't need to go down through them all. And essentially what was determined about that, and again, this is just kind of a preliminary feasibility analysis. This is not necessarily as hardcore numbers as, say, the PD was, but you're talking about a little over $1.3 million for those particular improvements or cost savings measures. Can we go one more? Sorry. These are kind of sort of the nuts and bolts of this. Right now, what you're having is you're having about I think it's $214,000 of energy costs per year, both electricity and natural gas. You can see that the pie chart on the left. After the police department, you'll actually see what the loan amount is for that initial $800,000 is about $64,000, and then the rest is moving forward. If you go to the next slide, you'll see the whole city. Again, that same basically pie chart, and then you have a much larger loan amount. But again, the whole point of this program is that obviously, provided that you again save at least $1 on your annual energy bills, you're allowed to take advantage of this type of program. I think I sent you folks a spreadsheet, kind of an interactive sort of spreadsheet, Excel table. I don't know if anybody had any chance to mess with it, but it's actually kind of cool where you can move things around, you can take projects out or whatnot, but it'll also show you that if the City of Council desires to have, say, $10,000 or $20,000 worth of savings on an annual year or any year, it kind of runs it out all the way out to 15, 16 years. A lot of the payback is probably within the 13th or 14th year. If you want additional savings or cash back, so to speak, you can get those. It'll just take a little bit longer to pay for itself. So I think what we're looking for tonight, again, is if the council is interested, if we skip that last one. So there's the total project cost, about $2.18 million. The utility cost, again, as I mentioned, I was wrong a little bit, $213,914 is what we are. So as long, again, as what we would do with our loan amount to make those improvements, and then our current energy costs or the remaining energy costs, as long as it equals $0 or $1, probably $1, we're okay. One of the benefits about doing this, obviously, is that you have an opportunity to upgrade and replace a lot of your deficient equipment. I mean, so it's not necessarily if we don't participate in this. And what was the do you remember what our HVAC system, for instance, what the replacement cost for that unit was? Was it like $340,000 or something?
Yeah, it was close to that. Actually, more, I think.
It was an actual ridiculous amount of money to just replace that. So this is an opportunity for us to not only do that, use this funding source rather than just paying cash for it. We can spread it out over a number of years. And Smart Rock folks are here. Brooklyn is here. If you have any specific questions on how this works, but again, tonight our main goal is if you'd like us to move forward with the police department, we certainly can do that. We're much farther along in that particular on that particular project. If you'd like to incorporate all of them together and just do it as one larger project, it'll delay the police department a few weeks, which I'm sure Dave is not, Chief Westrick isn't necessarily completely happy about. But overall, I think it'll give us an overall better project at the end of the day. So.
Okay. Councilmember Lenore.
Oh, sure.
I talked to you earlier. If we could please add the vets building to any analysis in that group.
You'd like to add the vets?
I would like to.
Okay.
They have no LED lighting in there. So if we could do something to save in there, I'm sure the veterans groups would appreciate any help that we could give them.
I think they would be okay with doing a quick evaluation and seeing what's available to do there. No.
I thought they did that when they were doing the solar, but
all they did is put panels up on that one.
So let me ask some questions and
sure.
Make some comments, and
you guys might want to get up now because this is going to get technical, and I'm
not
there.
Well, I'm not going to get technical on you, okay? It'll be nice tonight, but here's the issue I'm having, and I'm not really that impressed with the numbers, quite frankly. I'm not. And I think first off, what we need to be doing as a city is, as I mentioned several times in past years, is the simple lighting improvements that we can do ourselves. Everything is LED now. It's standard practice anywhere. The idea that you have to retrofit a whole light fixture, you don't need to do that any longer. All you do is change the bulb out now, and it's LED. We could do this ourselves in our own maintenance, as I've expressed many of times. That goes for the lights we're seeing up here, which are already LED, I believe. Are these still? I thought they replaced these LED, or no?
They look different colors. So
yeah, I don't think they're not LED. Even the lights on our streets, it's as simple as changing the bulb out to an LED bulb. Now, it's that standard. I mean, really is this simple. So lighting improvements, I'd say, that just needs to come off the list. That's something we could do in-house. Doesn't take much. As far as some of the other things I'm seeing, I'm all for solar, and I'm a solar contractor. I can't do it. I'm not saying I want to do it in any way. But I think what we have to do really is put some of these things at the bid. I'm not seeing numbers here that jump out at me as a great deal. And I think that's part of the reason you do a bid package out there. Even with the AC units and all those things, those are big numbers. And when you get to a certain point with your numbers, you really should be doing some bids to get the best bang out of there. I think we can afford to pay for some of these things on our own. I'm not seeing the numbers reflecting the tax credits and everything else that you guys would be getting from doing all this. I mean, what I'm saying is I'm not seeing numbers here that wow me. I'm just not. They were just standard numbers. And, when you see returns that are 12, 13 year, I'm not very impressed by it. So I would recommend, first off, we should do our lighting improvements on our own, get that out of the way.
So basically pay cash with reserves or something like that for some of them?
Yeah, but the lighting improvements on our own, we could do that on our own first off. And you're going to see a tremendous difference. And it's relatively cheap now. It's incredible how much the prices have fallen on these lamps, LED lamps from different things.
Would it be possible to make a comment on that? Just on the idea of using the lighting or doing that in-house with your own staff. It definitely obviously is a cheaper way to do it in that you buy the material and you have either a contractor that you bid that out to. The idea of California Government Code 4217 is a California energy code that allows you to implement energy efficiency projects. And the only way that it works is if the energy savings exceed the amount that you're paying for the loan. So the idea is that you have an existing utility budget. In this case, it's about $185,000, if I'm remembering correctly. So you are already paying $185,000 toward your utility to PG&E. That amount is subject to a certain amount of risk in that they're going to raise those rates every year, and you don't have any control over that. The idea of using 4217 is repurposing the dollars from that existing budget, utility budget, and using those funds to upgrade your facilities. So it very much so is taking money that you are already spending and using that to upgrade the facility. If we can supplement some of that with the lighting, the idea is more of a program. How we do the lighting or how we do the HVAC, and I think you guys already did get other bids for the HVAC prior to us getting involved, and the number was quite a bit higher, if I'm not mistaken. So the idea of having it in a term of 12 to 15 years is important because we have to show a positive cash flow. Otherwise, the 4217 California Government Code does not work. And the idea of using lighting, the reason why we do almost include that in every single project that we do is because that does show a quicker payback, which allows you a better cash flow, and that helps bring down some of the other things that don't pay for themselves very quickly, like an HVAC replacement.
No, I completely understand you. What I'm pointing out here is this is something that can be done in-house with changing lamps without spending the big dollars of changing out a whole fixture. we don't need to do that.
You actually wouldn't be doing that.
Well,
we would be retrofitting as well.
When I'm talking about retrofitting, I'm talking about changing lamps instead of changing the heads and everything else. We both know the business. So it's a big savings for us to be doing it, and that's what we should have done a year ago, and it's what we should be doing first. As far as the bigger items, you might be absolutely right as far as the pricing, but when you're going above a certain number, we should be bidding that out and just making sure at least some of the local contractors are having a shot at bidding this. And their prices might come much higher again, and fair is fair. That's okay. But I think what we need to be doing is starting with our own in-house, changing lamps to LED. Again, very basic, very simple, very inexpensive, and big benefit from it, as you know. Then the larger items we can be talking about. The solar, also the numbers I looked at they weren't very impressive.
Yeah, I think the last time we were here, you asked us about that, the dollars per kW.
And I would say if that were put out to bid, we'd probably see numbers much lower than what I saw in some of these proposals.
Okay. Yeah, because I think we were in the realm of $3.75 per kW, $3.75 to $4,
again,
depending on the site.
It might come back that, hey, everybody's raised their prices and you are the best. But we have to be, in my opinion, putting some of these things out to bid rather than just trying to do one big project. You know, sometimes it might be better off doing several smaller projects and getting a better number out of it. We should be doing that, at least taking the time to check that out.
Certainly.
You know, with cash, we could be saving quite a bit. Don't want to put too much out there, but as far as, again, going back to lighting improvements, just doing that alone is going to take down our numbers quite a bit. So, seems nice about this, right? Sure. And again, you guys did a great job, so let me make sure I'm clear on this. You guys did a great job putting the numbers together. Very impressive.
Thank you. I just wanted to add one thing to Brooklyn's comment, and that is when you go forward with doing your own lighting retrofit, you want to be careful to not disqualify yourself from being able to do the more expensive items. And I don't know that was completely, Brooklyn did mention it, but if you had a 30-year payback on an item that you had to get done, and you have lighting to offset that payback and bring it down to a 12 or 14-year payback, that's the value of having lighting in the bundle. The other thing you have to be very careful of with 4217 is that you cannot install an item with a payback in the bundle that has a payback beyond the useful life of that item. And that oftentimes happens with HVAC equipment. If you are simply going to replace it on the energy savings alone, they don't necessarily pay for themselves within the 15 or 16-year useful life of an HVAC piece of equipment. So I completely respect and totally respect the opinion, and you are absolutely correct that changing the lights out as a city-sponsored project may save you some money on the front end, but by picking off the low-hanging fruit, you may be eliminating the possibility of doing the other projects without cash.
Well, we agree on one thing, saving money, and that's
right.
Our responsibility first, making sure we're getting the most out of it. I know what you're saying. I understand that.
Okay.
But a lot of this we can do first and still pick up some of these other items. And again, just to be upfront and frank, I'm pretty sure some of these would come back lower than the numbers I saw. Mm-hmm. So it's just being fair and making sure our local contractors also have an opportunity. And again, it might come back where they are higher. Well, then we know what we're talking about. But
certainly, and
some of these things we need to get started on our own.
Sure.
And we should have done it a while ago.
And also part of 4217 is not necessarily sole sourcing the ideas to be able to allow you to select an energy contractor based on best value. So it's perfectly open to issuing a request for qualifications, a public bid. So we're not pushing one way or another. So what we have talked about is simply talking about California Government Code 4217 as a vehicle for the city to improve its facilities and use the energy savings generated to do so. So the contractor that you do choose, we have looked at subcontractors or your local contractors. So this would be something that would provide work to the local economy as well. So,
Vice Mayor Richmond?
I have one question for you because I'm certainly not an expert in this. On your install cost line, is that the cost of just the capital cost, or also includes the labor of actually putting it in?
that's the installed cost.
So it's the whole thing?
Yeah, so that's material, labor,
Thank
mobilization.
you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Lenore?
I agree with the mayor on this one. I think we should go to bid and give everybody an even shot.
Councilmember Resendez?
So I'm just trying to understand this. Then the very first one we see is the police department summary. That's $871,000, correct?
That's correct. Yep.
All right. And then we did put that one out for bid. Parts of it.
Yeah. Because
Okay.
what we needed to do is they had an issue with their zones and the HVAC system about a year or more ago, and we've been spending money on it, but we realized that it's just not it. There's been modifications made to the system, and it's just not working right. So it's kind of fighting each other. Some rooms are getting heated while other rooms are getting cooled. So again, this is a 24/7 operation, so it's always running and sort of fighting itself. And they could probably explain it better than I can. But yeah, we went out and we did get a bid. I think Captain Reynoso went and got some bids for that particular project, and it was much more money than I had ever dreamed that you could spend on an HVAC system.
And then the other portion where it says remaining city facilities, that's an additional 1.3?
Correct.
On top of the 800,000?
Correct. That's where
and
you get
this
that
has
2.1.
not gone out to bid?
No.
So then it would make sense just to put it out to bid.
Yeah, and one thing that interesting to note, and I would recommend pulling the resources to look at some of the other numbers that you guys looked at. So if you just simply look at the police department as a single project, I believe you had a $1.3 million solar project that was proposed, over $300,000 in HVAC equipment, and the lighting, I believe, was somewhere in the realm of $70,000 to $80,000, I believe. I don't know what that entails, if that's Title 24 controls, but if you add those three items together, you're about double what our number was. So when you talk about, and again, we're at the stage where we're doing an investment grade audit where we've audited, we've collected the data, we've installed data loggers to look at controls opportunities. It actually is an LED tube relamp for the PD. It did work out for the best economics. And that did include solar and the HVAC controls upgrades. So it really looked at the three different components that they were looking to bid, or they had received bids independently. And when Bill had asked us, can you look at the PD as our sore thumb in terms of how we're spending our utility budget? Can you look at that one first? And the numbers came back, and it's about half of what, if you looked at independently, those three different projects. Our numbers came back about half of what the aggregate of those other three were. So I would just ask, I'm not contending with you that the numbers do not look good, but I would ask that you look at those numbers and compare them, because I think you're going to find that it's about half the cost. And if the idea is to, save the city money, I think you're going to find that this is a way that you can do it both legally through the California Government Code 4217, and can save the city and constituents a lot of money.
Vice Mayor Richard.
Thank you. Just to make sure I understand it, the number that I'm looking at, $868,973, whatever that is that the one we're basing, we're thinking that the return on investment on that is 12 to 13 years?
Yes, sir.
Does that include enough lighting, the way it's set up here, to offset? Your point was the lighting gives you an immediate savings, whereas the HVAC, if you were doing it alone, I think your point was you're talking about 18 years or something, even if the equipment would last 18 years. Always questionable. But that mix that you have there as a project, quote project, would be enough to give you an ROI of 12, 13 years, do you think?
Enough to give you the positive cash flow so that
Yeah.
the energy savings exceeds the amount that you would pay in the loan.
Yeah.
And I believe it was between a 12 and a 13 year. That included the HVAC upgrades, so it solved the problem.
Yeah.
And you will need to spend that money at some point, so you can take it out to bid, and whether it's capitalized or if you look for a loan, the answer is yes.
Let me ask-
that's combining the solar, the lighting, and the HVAC.
That's one of my questions. So I'd like to ask city manager, if we go out and ask for independent bids, can we bid that as a package?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So we can get a head-to-head look at whatever it looks like.
Yeah, and what I would recommend on something like this is, again, first the lighting upgrades. That should just be done in-house. It's easy, very easy thing to do. The new AC unit, whatever controls, that actually should be bid separately as...
No, we do separate it.
As so the solar should be, pick the size. I forgot what size you were recommending. So we're, again, putting it out there, and everybody's bidding the same size. I think part of the problem is people had different numbers, different sizes they were trying to sell us at the time. So it wasn't clear cut. So it's hard to say one was much higher than the other because everybody's just kind of throwing numbers out there. I think if we knew our numbers, starting with the lighting and starting with the HVAC, that at that point we have a better understanding where we're wasting energy. It's clear the big energy sucker is the HVAC system, which is a pretty old system,
27 years?
27
right?
years.
92 you moved in.
Yeah, probably kicks on and makes a bunch of noise and does a bunch of weird stuff, right? So, but I think it'd be more fair to make sure we're asking contractors, especially our locals, to give it a shot, give it a price. What are we trying to accomplish? What's out there now? Because I know the technology has changed completely on these types of systems now.
How does it jive with the Monterey Community Power? It's not really a PG&E thing now, right?
As far as the service we're getting? you mean?
Yeah, for electrical.
Monterey, no, the
Monterey-
community choice power is just it's just a different source of where your power is coming through, still transmissioned through.
Well, yeah, when they have delivery, PG&E does the delivery, but
right.
Yeah.
Doesn't Monterey set the price for what we're purchasing now?
No.
No, well, you usually pay a little bit more just because that's just a green energy sort of function. You may be also talking about AMBEG's programs for energy efficient. I was going to say that
I talked to you about that.
Right.
If they can work together,
and they do,
because they have met. I talked to Ms. Bertrand over there at AMBEG, and they sound like they want to help too. So.
Yep, we would actually use their program for the rebates. Yep.
And they've been very helpful in the past. But again, what's happened in the industry today compared to last year or the year before is completely different. And it's off-the-shelf products now. Simple as take one out, pop one in. You don't have to do the whole retrofit that costs quite a bit of money. I know it looks nice, but there's no reason to spend $200 when you can spend $12 for the tubes now.
Could not agree more. And again, actually, in the design we put together for this building as well as the police department has got LED tubes. So that is very much so agreeing with what you're saying. So the one thing that I would contend is that you do have to be careful of just buying an LED tube and putting it in, for instance, is Title 24. The difference that you're going to find between a company like us, and we've talked about putting this out for bid, which we would be a respondent, is looking for energy contractors. And energy contractors generally are partnering with local labor subcontractors, like we have with solar. We've actually walked solar subcontractors for the police department. The idea is we are able to look at a building like the police department holistically. And being that we are not just a mechanical contractor or an electrical contractor or a solar contractor, we're going to look at the building. How do we reduce the energy first and then generate later? And you're right. That is one of the reasons why the solar numbers that you guys have gotten before are so inflated. It's because those companies want to sell you as much solar as they can. And our goal is to make the building more efficient and then apply generation measures. So there are two different ways of looking at it, and our business is energy. It is looking for ways that can save you guys the most money while using that to upgrade your facilities. So,
and again, I agree, and I agree with what you've done. I like what you've done, but reality is there's a lot of money to be saved here. And doing at least the basics on our part first, and then at least giving our locals or contractors the opportunity to bid and see the numbers again for the HVAC, and then solar at a certain number, so we're all clear on the goal.
Sure.
That way we're playing fair. And if your numbers turn out to be the best, that's great. You were here first, and well, you weren't here first, but
yeah, I mean, you guys already have, I think.
Yeah, we had a few others that were just really outrageous. So, and again, thank you. But that's where I would like to see it go.
Sure.
Any other comments or questions? Do we have any speaker cards?
Keith Snow?
Yeah, there you go. Thank you, Mayor. You said the taxpayer money. The things have to be self-sufficient. Someone technology over there, like Tesla. I understand this for the people of Keyslow. You see it shop around. They bought a Tesla car on pretty mansion, pretty bill, for $34,000. 2014 car. And then they bought a few for guess where? The police department. The hot life in it. And right, clean energy, everything, all right? Another one, nowadays, like he said, you buy some cheaper quality items called Google, Amazon. You can Google it. You can put things, no-brainer. This things down, you do it and put it together. Instead of put cars together. If I look at technology, you can look at your phone. What's it take us to learn to be self-sufficient? Look at my picture when what's called Mike find this spin machine. I was waiting for the request. Not for the request. Black, the bill, Brett, and the same $10. Then what was called? This guy trying to get a pitch. How much? $3,000 for Red Marty, Simple Green, to clear the street, and lines. Hello, and then we wait and look at Mike, $10,000. Taxpayer money, or where's the purchase order? I'm putting for request. Oh, we're not going to do that. Well, let's get busy. Let's do savings like the mayor said. To hold off. Use local people. Do you know that the public consultants are in county? Why are you going downtown? These other companies. What's going on with that picture? I mean, that's what I'm trying to get at. We got to be self-sufficient. Did they say here? Our trip over there, and then part of the bar knows that. First business, watch it, and right in. Be honest with it, wasn't here, flew along. And now, things for the piece of work, but for a fact is, well, they went there, I mean, they're there. But what's the means thing? What's the means people they're supposed to hire? Well, we gonna need a maintain our city, be self-sufficient. Working it now, and then all the piece of work, you can do all that there. And look, high quality items. I'm buying it myself. You can buy robots. You buy when you go travel. There's a thing with the luggage. You can do $99 online. That's that goes by itself. Thanks.
Thank you.
With compact,
Mr. Snow. Okay, so I think we're just going to provide direction to the city manager. Again, I would suggest we start with the simple lighting. Okay. Is that all right with everyone? Yeah. Okay. All right. HI J&K, there's no business. Tonight we want to adjourn in the name of a good friend of ours, many of us, Leonard Paletti. He was a former council member, former mayor, a very good man, very funny man. It was an honor to know him. We've been friends probably for close to 20 years. I've known Leonard now. So I was sorry to hear of his passing, and our condolences to his family. Anybody else want to?
I do.
I know you were good friends with him too.
My mother was such good friends with the Palettis. But I'll tell you a little story. Is that my stepfather wasn't always the most social person when you would come to visit, but Leonard Paletti always came to visit. My stepfather would turn that TV up, and Leonard would just turn up his voice. He was a good friend. He was a good friend to my stepfather, and even a better friend to my mother, Rita Bowling. So I wanted to tell Beverly, I'm so sorry for your loss. Thank you.
Rest in peace.
Is there a motion to adjourn in the honor of name of Leonard Paletti
I
tonight?
make that motion.
Motion, is there a second?
Second.
Motion is second, all in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you, everyone.